Everybody tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macromala intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack a 6 o'clock and lager with some sirloin bites.
What is up? We are back, and it feels good. Feels good. Dustin and Lt Tenier back with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk, coming at you live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio, where they, of course, have those 5 delicious flavors of wings. Nothing says Monday lunch like Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen delicious and juicy wings.
Chicken.
Had chicken wings.
It's chicken.
Chicken wings. Yeah, I like chicken.
Fried chicken.
What are you going to do? I like chicken. What's going on, everybody? You can text us anytime. Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. You know what it's time to start planning for over at PJ's? Valentine's Day. Go see our crew at Paris Jewelers. Visit them at parisjewelers.com and get your special someone a little something special.
Yeah.
Right? That should be their slogan.
Drop a little bit. Hey,
Yeah.
I just want to say congratulations on your draft win.
I didn't win.
You didn't win? I thought you won.
No,
the Christmas draft?
Tommy Gazzola won the Christmas draft.
Did he celebrate?
Did you guys, Trev, did you guys
Pop the
talk
champagne?
about it?
Tommy was very happy about it. We didn't celebrate, but Tommy was happy. Didn't Dusty get last? I think Dusty.
I think did we
You
tie?
didn't get last.
You two tied for
we
last.
We all won because nobody got relegated.
Yeah,
right?
that's
we
so
tied for
it's a win-win.
We tied for third.
Yeah.
And actually,
I'll take it.
You know what? We all did pretty well. I had like 22 or 23. We had like 22 or 23% of the vote.
Couldn't get
Milne
relegated.
was just a little bit higher than us, and then Tommy had in the low 30s. So yeah, relegation was never, ever, ever on the table for anybody. But yeah, I thought Milne was going to win that one. Like when we finished the draft, when I went and looked at our groups, I thought for sure Milne was going to win. I was a little surprised by the Tommy Gazzola dub. I really was.
He needed that bad, didn't he?
Yeah.
He needed that.
Tommy needed a win. Tommy needed a dub. The first 2 drafts had gone horribly wrong, and it was much needed. It was much needed for Tommy Gazzola. So that's nice. I'm sure it got him through the holidays. Love seeing the nasty chat going here as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Big exciting plans here at Edmonton Sports Talk in 2024. So make sure you tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. They can listen on TuneIn. We hope to announce another place you'll be able to listen in the very near future as well. You can watch on YouTube. Obviously, you can just listen at edmontonsportstalk.com. I know many of you are still listening that way as well. You can hit us up at the Nasty Chat. You can text us and get in the mix for the text of the day for A&W, where they've got the A&W Spicy Dill Pickle Mama Burger. It's back. It's available as a buddy burger as well. Hello. Starting at just $3.99, 3 grass-fed beef burgers are topped with pickles, onion slice, real cheddar cheese, slathered. That's a good word that we don't use enough with food, isn't it?
Slathered.
Slathered in creamy, spicy dill pickle sauce. Available for a limited time only at A&W. And you know what else they've given us at A&W? We got this email from Tina over at A&W. And she says, hey, we're bringing this back. Not sure if you guys are going to be able to use it with anything. Like, we're not going to be able to use this. This is when it really kicks in. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Bud the Bum Bum song.
I never knew there was a whole band here.
Yes, the A&W is bringing back the classic A&W Bear song.
Triangle.
Which I absolutely love.
Now bring back the
How
suckers.
cool is that?
Give me the suckers.
What is this, a Rishaug intro? Anyway, that's a nice addition to the show. God, when she sent that, she's like, I don't know if you guys will be able to use it. I was like, come on, what do you mean we're not going to be able to use it? We're going to do a remix with this thing. Like, we're going to kill this thing. So, yeah, that's absolutely amazing that we have that again. I see Wreckage 504 says, yawn, advertising. Yeah, look, man, if it's not for advertising, we wouldn't be able to do this. Of course we're going to have advertising.
Yawn.
We just don't go to commercials. You get 3 hours straight of content. I think people are going to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling, buddy? Like...
Oh, I'm feeling great. The Buffalo Bills, division winners. Liverpool off to the 4th round of the FA Cup. I'm on cloud 9, baby. And
what is
before I
this?
forget, a little gift for the studio.
What is this? Oh, a trapper's
Look at
pennant.
that, eh?
Where'd you find that
From
bad
my
boy?
buddy Pete Mills.
Oh, Pete, eh?
So we're going to put that up in the... Yeah, but no, I'm feeling fine. I was a little sick. And I don't really want to
hit
talk
you
about
hard,
it.
eh?
It was really bad. I'm having flashbacks. But Mr. Spengler Cup.
Spengler. Yeah, it was
please,
fun. It was fun. It was a good time. I mean, Canada. My God. Overall, not a great holidays for Canadian hockey. The Canadian men at the World Juniors not even getting through the quarterfinals for only like the 3rd time ever. And my buddy, my good close personal friend, Filthy Bruce, and Team Canada at the Spengler, allowing 3 goals in the 3rd period 3 times. My legs almost gave out from underneath me. So they're up 3-1. They're up 3-1 with 4 minutes left. And in a do or die game. And they give up 1, and you're like, okay. It was like with 5 minutes left. Vaclav Varada, who's coaching HC Pardubice, pulls the goalie. They score. You're like, okay, whatever. Then they score another one to tie it at 3, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, Canada wins it in overtime. That'll be a great game to call. And then just seconds later, on just a weak shot from the point, they allow another one. I'm calling the game, and when that one went in, like I felt my legs give up from underneath me. I was like, oh, it was awful. It was disturbing. And so 3 times in the 4 games they played at the Spengler, they gave up 3 goals in the 3rd period. The one period cost them a loss to Davos, which ended up screwing up your rest schedule, and you have to play so many days in a row. So that screwed them. And then they were up 5-0 on Kalpa, gave up 3. Not the end of the world. They won that game. But then to give up 3 in the final 4 minutes against the Czech team, man, it was, yeah, that sucked. However, something coming out of, something coming out of my trip to Davos this year that could lead to a lifestyle change. A lifestyle change for me. Yeah. I'm going to talk about today. Nobody will guess this.
The fondue thing, the fountain,
Nope.
you got it at home now?
Nope.
You're going to be eating
Nope.
it 3 times a day?
No. Nobody. I don't think anybody guesses this, but you can take a run at it. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. What am I changing from a lifestyle perspective since I went to Davos? It seems like I always pick up something. Remember a few years back, I started drinking tea.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know where my tea is.
You're a scarf guy. You've worn a scarf now occasionally from time to
scarf,
time. I mean,
scarf was another year. Scarf was another year. I got the scarf there.
This has nothing to do with your blossoming friendship with one Bruce Boudreau.
No. I mean, I'll probably place an email to
separate...
Filthy Bruce here at some point saying, hey, thanks for everything. Let me know if you want to hop on our show once every couple of weeks. That would be amazing. But he was great. God, Filthy Bruce is just... I mean, I interviewed, I don't know, like 5 or 6 times, but just a few of the discussions before we would go to air. He's everything you would imagine, man. Like, Bruce is great. And then, so then I come back, watch that World Junior team. I mean, it was never meant to be with that team. Well, they were not the United States. No. They were not Sweden. But still disappointing to not even get to a semifinal.
Well, and the way it happened late in the game, kind of a deflection, but taking the heat off the Spengler Cup failure, if you will.
Well, exactly. Finally,
that's the
finally the Spengler can fly under the radar a little bit. You know, that's good. All right, you can hit us up in the Sparky YG says Dusty's becoming a bidet guy. No, I'm not becoming a bidet guy. Although I'm sure if I ever tried a bidet, I'm too intimidated to try a bidet.
But they all say once you do it, you don't
I know.
go back.
I feel like once I try a bidet, I'm going to be wearing like bidet hoodies and bidet hats and things like that. So I don't want to try it because I know it's going to cost me thousands of dollars in renovations to my house to put bidets in the 4 bathrooms, 3.5 baths or whatever you say.
Ross says you'll never take an elevator again. Is that part of the?
Oh no. Well, that was so in between. In every intermission, I have to run down to the rinkside to do these interviews, and it's 8 flights of stairs going back up. And so for the last 3 years, and the elevator is right there, but you have to have like a swipe card to get in. And I was just like, man, I'm not going to bother anybody. I'll just take the stairs.
You
It's
don't
not
have a
the end
swipe
of the world.
card?
No, I never had a swipe card. So on the second last day, I'm walking, and I walk right past, and the stairs are like right here, and the elevator is like 6 feet to the left. And I go to head up the stairs again, and the guy working the elevator goes, hey, do you want to take the elevator? I was like, what? Of course I do. So I talked to this guy. This guy speaks 5 languages. That's why they've got him on front door and elevator duty, he said, because he can speak to everybody who comes in. It was unbelievable. So I ended up getting to know that guy a little bit, and I don't know if that'll carry over to, like, next Spengler, but, man, it made the last day there pretty darn
Connections,
sweet.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about networking in the biz.
Yes.
It's all about networking.
Yeah.
How many people know elevator guy at the ice stadium in Davos?
He controls.
many,
He
not
controls
many.
the movement. That's an important.
The ups and
fella to
downs.
know. Yeah, exactly.
The ups and downs. Joe Cool is in on the nasty chat. Says I tried a bidet over the holidays. Not impressed. What? Okay. I mean that's interesting. I feel like most people probably would have been pretty impressed with that. Dusty is entering his sauna guy era. Epic. Man, it'd be great if I was. Because we got saunas right downstairs. We had a beer with the boy.
Ivan.
Yeah, it was great. So that was a good time. So we have the connection now. We're pretty tight with the Russian spa downstairs now. So it would be great to become spa guy. But I don't want to have to like get naked every day and then like slide in there, then get dressed again after all sweaty.
Willow Branch.
There must be a shower there or something, I guess.
You're
I don't
selling
know
the
how
truck
that
and
works.
biking everywhere.
No, I'm definitely not selling truck. I'm not starting to ski. I don't know if anybody gets
this
skiing,
climate?
but that would make sense.
Yeah.
Tobogganing's big over there. No, I'm not going to be tobogganing. It almost came to me in a accidental fashion. This new lifestyle change that I'm going to have. So
Is it going to be a confession? Is it going to be a good, bad, ugly?
I want to see the guesses. I want to see people guess. What am I bringing back from Europe with me? And I know many of you are going to be like, God, Dusty, like you could have just done that already. But yeah, it changes. I don't know.
Turtlenecks.
It was better. No, not turtlenecks. I could not be turtleneck guy.
You could try.
I could. You know what I'm going to start wearing just to piss off Tommy and Maddie? I'm going to wear a turtleneck with an open flannel shirt over top of it. That's a look.
That's a look, yeah.
That's a look. I like that one.
It's European.
Dusty walking around saying, bidet, mate, when he sees everyone would be great.
I'll take
Instead
it.
of good day, bidet. I get it. That's hilarious. Thank you very much for your suggestions. Keep them rolling in 780-218-9999.
Can I see your wrists?
I'm not wearing bracelets. Is that what you thought?
No, just.
Oh.
Somebody said you'd be a Rolex guy, maybe.
Oh, man. So I
Big
walk
piece,
past.
eh?
I like to go, when I go over there, I like to get my wife something. You know, like something nice. Now, with that being said, everything in Davos that's nice is insanely expensive. But I walked by a Rolex store, and I just stared in the window like a little child, like that Tiny Tom or Tiny Tim or whatever. I just stared in the window at all
Breathing
the
on the
Rolexes.
glass.
I couldn't even bring myself to open the bloody door. Opening the door at the Rolex store, it costs $700. You know, you can't even go to buy anything. It's just $700 to open the door.
Gotta make friends with that doorman now.
Yeah, I accidentally
then
touched
in
it.
the-
They charged me $200. I had to leave. So anyway, keep your guesses coming in. I don't think anybody's going to get it because it's not necessarily a European thing. I just happened to try it in Europe for the first time, and I like the way.
So it's an
the way it
action,
goes.
a food.
No.
One hint.
No hints.
No, I did.
No hints.
Somebody said you're adding puffin to your diet.
I don't even know what that is.
The small bird.
No.
Knew you could eat
I'm
that.
not. Mayo on fries.
Oh, it's
No. I think we've been mayo on fry guy in the past.
That's made its way over to North America now. I think it's a thing.
My buddy Shoebox used to put mayo on his McDonald's fries back in university. So that was like over 2 decades ago. Anyway, keep your guesses coming. We got other things to discuss. But 780-218-9999. Let's take this Paris Jewelers inbox for a little bit of a pounding today, shall we? We'll get into to that. I love seeing the nasty chat. It's absolutely going. It's good to be back. I told Eric before we got going, I said, I'm a little nervous about pushing buttons and playing. So this is me to my new thing. What? I told you, see? I knew it. I knew it. Something wasn't going to work. That's on me, Trev. Don't worry. That's not on you. This is on the board here. Ah, man. What? None of these are working? We'll fix that
You're
later.
getting a taste.
I got
though.
the
You
conch
get a
earlier,
taste.
didn't I? I'm pretty sure I got
Yeah.
the conch. Now I got nothing.
Tommy.
Unbelievable. Is this
Must have been
Gazzola?
Must have been Tom
It
fiddling
feels
around.
like a Gazzola thing. Unbelievable. Trev, how did Tommy do? How did Tommy? You say he was really tired by the end of last week. Eh?
Yeah, Tommy was definitely huffing and puffing by the end of the week, but it was a good week, honestly.
How
huge,
Gager and Milne do?
Yeah, huge shout out to
Good.
Gager.
I like
Gager's a pro, but honestly, mad respect for Milne. He's just a natural. Like, he really is. He came on the show and like, no nerves at all. A lot of the nasty chat was just giving him lots of high praise, and he deserved it. He did really good. So proud of the boys. We did good, but we're happy you boys are back as well.
Well, we do have lots to get to. How about the Edmonton Elks? Chris Jones, eh? What a sly dog. We're going to get into that. Yeah, big shout out to Tommy. Maddie's in a sling.
Yeah.
I
owe them all a Popeye supper. Popeye supper for all. I'll buy them a
Popeye supper for
all,
everybody.
yeah.
Boy, that's real nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, you got to
that's
repay
really
those
good.
boys. They're working hard.
I think you have to look after the boys, right? So we'll get into all of this stuff as we work our way through. But shout out to Gager and Milne and Tommy and everybody for filling in last week. It is good to be back though. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Menopause Nick, obviously not paying attention, says, "Conch me, boys." Like I said, Nick, I give me a sec here, Nick. Let me see if I can. I can go I can go old school.
Oh.
I can't even go old school now.
Tommy.
What is going on here? Unbelievable. Is this Tommy Gazzola?
I think
Is this
until
all
he
Tommy?
shows up, we can kind of, for the show at least. Yeah. You know.
Oh, how's that for a touchy board? I'm back, baby. We got it figured out. Just had to wiggle it a little bit. That's what I did.
It's not in all the way. It's just kind of.
Yeah,
you're
sometimes
just
when
kinda
it's not in all the way, if you just wiggle it a little bit, it'll still get the job done.
soaking in there.
So that's what we learned today on the show. Anyway, Menopause Nick, you got us fixed there, buddy. Conch me, boys. I just got home from Mexico on Friday, and while I was there, I found an actual conch while wearing my Edmonton Sports Talk hat. It's an AM Nasty miracle.
Seen that thing? Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it was very little.
Put that thing on
conch.
a necklace or something.
I didn't know
Like
that. You know what?
like
Those
a
are the types
jewelry.
of conches we need to put on keychains and give away.
Paris Jewelers, are you listening? Like
Just a little one, like that'd be real nice. Tom Dixon's mustache is saying, "Is Dusty becoming a bathrobe guy?" No, I'm not becoming. Although I would love to be bathrobe guy, full on the dude from The Big Lebowski, like just all.
Not
the
just
time.
at home, but in
All the
walking
time.
around and
At the store,
open,
buying milk
waving around.
with shorts on.
Is it crepes? You eating crepes?
It's not crepes. Oh, that crepes place in the mall. Marshall likes to get crepes when he goes there.
So
he
that's
gets a
not it.
ham and cheese crepe. Blows my mind. Dusty's a carbonated water guy. Thank you very much for the text this morning, but I will never be a carbonated water guy. That's one of the things that still rattles me over there. They always come up. They're like, "Do you want still water or the other water?" I'm like, why would anybody have this other water? It's gross.
You wake up in the middle of the night hungover, you need some water, and it's that. It's the worst thing in the world.
That bubbling water is just awful. I hate the fact that over there, and I think other people go over there and they're just, "Oh, I'm in Europe, I'll have to have some." You still don't like it. It's ridiculous. All right, let's lay out the show for you this morning. It is the Nielsen Show. Let's hammer the thumbs up today. Why not? Right? Let's hammer that thing up over 200. Many of you watch every single day. Give us that thumbs up. It helps push our feed into other people's systems. And
I'll do it.
there you go.
Yeah, it's not hard.
I'm going to hit the likes right now, too.
Easy.
I got to do that. Boom. 20.
Easy.
I was 26. That's neat. All right, so let's keep hammering that thing. And you can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. I will say, of all the guesses that we've had so far of what my new lifestyle change is, nobody's even had a sniff. Hasn't even been close yet. Usually some people get close on these things. Haven't even had a sniff. So we'll hang in there and see if anybody can get it. We do have a jam-packed show for you. It might not sound like that through the first 20 minutes, but we've got a busy program for you this morning. We're going to get into the NFL playoff picture. Both of our teams playoff bound. Both of our teams division champions. So we'll get into that as we work our way through the 6 o'clock hour. We're going to get to the red hot Edmonton Oilers. We're going to get to what the Edmonton Elks did over the weekend. Holy smokes. Good, bad, and ugly from the weekend coming up here around 6:45 this morning. Darren Dreger is going to pop by just after 7. We'll have your Coolbet hotline of the day today. Mike Tanier is going to be by at 7:40 this morning. Kind of easy trivia for Mr. Mike's. 3 questions too many for Park Mazda. Ryan Rishaug and the Got Your Back Monday morning mandate. Shoggy will be by as well. We've also added Farhan Lalj to the mix today. Farhan's going to pop by around 8:40 today. We'll get his thoughts on the Elks. Apparently $450K of hard money. Hard money on this deal for MBT, plus some playing incentives that could take it up to $500,000 deal.
And what's lost?
McCall Bethel Thompson.
Lost in all this as well is the Taylor Cornelius era is now officially ended.
I still think he has it. I still think he should be the guy. Like, give me Cornelius without McAdoo. How did we never get Cornelius without McAdoo?
Well, could have been.
Cornelius was stuck to McAdoo his entire offensive career. We'll see if he wants to become short yardage guy. I think he gets another look.
Spelling
somewhere.
off last season late.
He was
actually
excellent
not bad.
at short yardage. He really was, and you can mix in some certain plays because he can throw the ball extremely
Different
well
type
as well.
of guy.
Fresh start maybe somewhere for Cornelius. Who knows? We'll see where that goes. But Farhan will join us around 8:40 this morning. Like I said, jam-packed show. He will also join us to set up Washington and Michigan. I saw Mike, the Michigan fan, is already hammering in here today as well. He's pretty excited about this game tonight. I don't follow college football as much as I would like to. I just can't find time on a busy sports-consuming sched already. But I do know this is Washington's offense that averages about 37 points per game going up against the best defense in the nation. Michigan allows only 10. So I would think something has to give tonight. Is that what we're
Penix
looking at?
Jr. is electric, the quarterback for the Huskies. Of course, Michigan, Harbaugh, maybe his last game, right? It's the Natty. You got to get up for the Natty, Dusty. It's the Natty.
I do always like watching this game. I do always, like every single year, I come back in the next morning and go, man, it's a pretty good football game, but my God, did it take a long time. Right? Is it usually like a 3.5 hour football game tonight?
It's an event.
It's definitely an event. We'll set that up with Farhan when he pops by around 8:40 today, and we'll get into the wrap for William Huff, because if you want your place to look as good as ours, get it done at William Huff. It is the Nielsen Show coming at you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio this morning. Jason and Leduc says, Dusty, you started brushing your teeth before bed and first thing when you wake up? No, that's what I always do with my teeth.
I know what it is.
I always brush before bedtime and then when I wake up.
Military time.
No.
You're on the full... No?
A good guess, though. I mean, it's not close, but I like the idea of me becoming military time guy. Oh, Big Maple says, is Dusty a double cheek kiss guy now? Every time I see something. You know what? I see that a little bit over there. And I don't want to take it to another level. I just want to start French kissing strangers. Just straight up.
Full tongue,
They go
yeah.
like this, and I'm like, ah.
Dive right in there.
Yeah,
Shoot a
that
shot.
would, I'm sure that would probably work as well. Bruce Burns is in and says Michigan is gonna smoke Washington tonight. I am pumped. I feel like we have to go there for the Coolbet hotline of the day today, right? Well, obviously
the
get
natty.
into it on the lock shop and stuff. Do you feel that same way? Like, do you think Michigan is gonna just stomp them tonight?
Not necessarily. I as a casual viewer and all.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it's the defense, Michigan, but Washington, like that Penix guy can ball out.
He's
There are
got
good
he's
receivers.
got a rocket for an arm,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
So I just, as a neutral, I want a great event. I hope everybody has fun, high scoring, all that back and forth. But as far as laying down a dime on this thing, I don't know which way to go. That might be the cool bet. Maybe like a Penix prop or something like that. Maybe Anthem stuff. Hey,
I'm not betting Anthem for the Natty. Are you nuts?
it's the Natty.
Washington right now with our partners over at Coolbet, 5-point dogs heading into the NCAA Division I Bowl, as it's labeled on Coolbet right now. Hey, is Dusty a Swiss chocolate only guy? No, that's not it either.
Always have been.
When I go over there, I love Lindor Lints anyway.
Yeah.
And they're no different over there than they are here.
The
But when I'm
Maltesers
over there, I
and-
eat them way more. I'm just like, oh, Lindor, fancy. I'm in Switzerland. Just one little Lindor probably costs like $3. But no, like I said, we'll get to it later. It doesn't have to be the story of the show. Mark's in and says Dusty was too busy watching Power Slap. Man, Power Slap came up on one of my social media feeds over the holidays, and I just don't understand how society has allowed Power Slap to become a thing. Like how are like other planets, Imagine if that's the first signal, like in the movie Contact, the first signal that gets sent out and another planet gets it. And it just is a video of humans standing there and allowing them to slap each other in the face. Imagine what they would think of us.
I've always wanted the Power Pinch League. That's what I...
Ooh, the Snake Bite League. Right, here's my arm.
Like
snake bite me.
Here you slap.
Dana White is about 3.5 years away from Snake Bite League and Power Pinch League.
Money on the table here.
Yeah. And you can pinch anywhere on the body.
Exactly.
Except for the privates. But anywhere else. Oh, man.
Give it a twist.
Ugh. I just, like, with the
But
power
you're intrigued,
slap,
yeah?
The power slap guys, I just don't, like, did they have other jobs and we're always like, but what I'm really good at is getting slapped in the face.
Yeah.
I really wish there was a place where I could go and just get slapped in the face. Or could they not find other jobs, and that's why they just decided to just get slapped in the face for
Do you go to
living.
school? Can you get a scholarship?
I don't understand it. You can't block it. Like, at least in other mixed martial arts and boxing, you're allowed to protect yourself. This one is just absolutely ridiculous. So if now, because we've been talking about it, it's going to pop up on our phone even more probably, which is a real pain in the butt. If you're watching on YouTube and you have to head to work today, make sure you have the free TuneIn app on your phone. You just click TuneIn, listen to Edmonton Sports Talk, and it'll pop right up on your car. All you have to do is connect, obviously, Bluetooth. And it's better than all the radio morning shows you can listen to, AM, FM, whatever, because we're not going to commercial. It is the Nielsen Show uninterrupted. Dusty now counts to 3 Mississippis at every stop sign. No. Keep these rolling in though. Maybe somebody gets it at some point today. You can text us anytime. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999, and one of you will win text of the day, which is brought to you by A&W. Man, I'm excited.
Just have
to
that going
access to
throughout
that.
the show.
Play the whole time underneath us.
Yeah.
If we brought it down really low,
Yeah.
just like that the whole time, the entire show, just have this little A&W bed in behind
It's a
us.
bit of hijinks to the affair.
That's not a bad idea. I don't know how other fast food joints also haven't come up with like an insanely catchy jingle. The jingle game has taken a huge hit lately.
You might as well. It's what, like running time's a minute, $1.32 minutes. It's not
easy
that bad.
peasy.
You get a couple. You get the triangle. You get the tuba. You get you've rented instruments in the past. It's
Yeah. Well, you know what I thought would be fun, because this is played on a tuba. I was in that section of the band,
the brass or
trombone
whatever,
guy myself.
Trombone. Yeah.
I would like to get the trombone, maybe from Long and McQuaid, and
Give it a go.
try to play this, but on trombone.
I'll join you
instead
on the
of tuba.
triangle. I could do the triangle part there.
Is there a triangle in
Well,
here?
at the beginning there, yeah.
Easy. I think I can do it. I think that would be good. We'll work on it. Something to take for a run here in the new year. Like I said, big things coming up at Edmonton Sports Talk in 2024. This is the first one. This is a big one. All right, we're going to get to a sports update with Lieutenant Eric. When we come back, we are going to get to so the Oilers are on another heater. They were on a heater, and then they lost it for just a little bit, and now they're on another heater again. You can put both heaters together if you want. And that'll fix anything, really. I mean, you get on 2 heaters like this.
That's what you
Things
do.
are-
You use heaters to fix it, man.
I could have told the Oilers for years that a heater would fix this. Now they've had 2 of them, so we're going to get into that. We do have to dive into this conversation about the Edmonton Elks. Does Chris Jones just not like Trey Ford? Is that what this is? Or is this Chris Jones? Like, I know some people are viewing it as Chris Jones trying to save his job by bringing in a veteran quarterback, which I hope it is, as opposed to Chris Jones not liking the only exciting thing about his football team. So there's lots to discuss on that front. What did you think of the Elks signing McLeod Bethel Thompson? Hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999. We'll get to those good, bad, and ugly from the weekend coming up. We got to look at this NFL playoff picture as well. Great game last night between the Bills and the Dolphins. We'll get into that, but let's get to a sports update with LTE.
As I mentioned, Dusty, the Buffalo Bills winning their 4th straight AFC East title, downing the Dolphins 21-14 from Miami. Bills now host the Steelers Wild Card Weekend Sunday. The Dolphins will head to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs Saturday night. Oilers kick off a 3-game East Coast swing tomorrow in Chicago. They'll look to stretch their win streak to 8 following Saturday's win over Ottawa. Yesterday, banged-up Bedardless Blackhawks squad defeating the Flames 4-3. League-leading Jets beat Arizona 6-2. Caps over the Kings 4-3. LA have dropped 5 straight, while Detroit edge Anaheim 3-2. AJHL action saw Calgary blank Lloyd 3-0. Blackfalds hammering Grand Prairie 7-3, and Okotoks shutting out Drayton Valley 6-0. Over to the NBA, where RJ Barrett had a season-high 37 as the Raptors bounced the Warriors 133-118. The Lakers taking the Battle of Los Angeles 106-103 over the Clippers. Chris Kirk taking the opening event of the PGA calendar. He'd shoot a final round 8-under to win the Century at Kapalua. College football's national championship tonight from NRG Stadium in Houston between number 1 Michigan and number 2 Washington. Kickoff 5:30. The sports update brought to you by Green Plan, providing you with award-winning environmental planning and consulting services. Whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential, plan it right with Green Plan. Visit green-plan.com or give them a call, 780-455-4292.
The Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
All right, the Nielsen Show back. First time together in 2024. As YouTube Trev said to us this morning, I haven't seen you guys since last year.
I love throwing that one.
Oh, Trev.
Happy New Year.
So good.
That's just classic content right there. I love it. That's good stuff. We got Darren Dreger coming up just after 7 o'clock this morning. We'll get his thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, it's funny with the Oil because you look at them right now and what they're doing, and you go, ooh, just leave them as is. Right? Or you go, oh, this is a real good team. You got to add to it and take another run at this bad boy. So we'll get into that with Dregs a little bit. You know, so the Oilers are red hot. You know who's actually the hottest team in the National Hockey League, though? The Winnipeg Jets. My God, the Jets have points in 12 straight. They've been on an absolute tear. First place in the National Hockey League. Nobody saw this coming. I mean, you could have viewed the Jets as a playoff team, but nobody thought best team in the NHL. So we'll get into that. That's perfect for the lock shop. With the Oilers being red hot and the Jets being red hot, man, we got lots to discuss with Huss and I today at 11 o'clock, which would be a lot of fun. We'll get into all of that with Dregs. Talk a little bit about Connor Bedard being out as well. Might get into Willie Nylander a little bit. Could something be happening on that front in the next little while? So we'll get into that with Dregs. Mike Tanier's on the way in hour number 2. Lots of messages already rolling in here on this McLeod Bethel Thompson thing. So we'll dive into that as well. Quickly on the Oilers, Trev, you've been around doing pre and post with Tommy while Eric and I have been away. I was overseas. He was sick. We probably weren't keeping tabs on the Oilers as much as you guys obviously were. What's it been like during this most recent heater?
It's been awesome. It's really fun to watch. They're playing some really good hockey throughout the whole lineup too. The top 6 is looking good. Bottom 6 is, they're not scoring necessarily that much, but they're keeping the puck out of the net, which is good. Defense has looked awesome. I really liked Darnell Nurse. He's been looking so good in both ends. And then the last time, I guess, it was right before the break. The Ryan McLeod, Warren Fogle, Leon Draisaitl line. Who'd have thunk it?
I know.
It's actually it's very surprising, and it's really working. They're buzzing out there. They're maybe making one too many passes at times, but when they do make passes, they're capitalizing on them. They look like two different players, like Ryan McLeod and Warren Fogle both. It's a whole 180. Like it's awesome to watch. And then obviously, you got that line going, which is great, but you got the best line in all of hockey right now.
Yeah, the McDavid line is
line.
ridiculous.
When they're out there, it honestly looks like a power play. It doesn't, and when they started against San Jose, like they started so hot within the first 2 minutes, they just had them hemmed in their own zone. And if they start like that every game, like it's just so encouraging to build off of that. They'll probably score. They have been scoring like really early lately, and it helps so much when you're playing ahead. So it's and Stuart Skinner, he's been lights out as well. The whole team, it's a whole committee. They're the whole effort. It's looking so good.
3 hat tricks this season for Zach Hyman, team leader in goals right now, and it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Didn't even mention him. Yeah, he's-
Terrible deal.
Yeah, he's just on a sweetheart contract. And as Trev mentioned, McDavid, Nuge, and Hyman, the best line in the National Hockey League. And Draisaitl between Fogle and McLeod. When I first saw that when I was over in Switzerland, I thought it was like a translation issue. I was like, what's going on here? What year did I wake? What is going on? What's happening here? But it's together, and it certainly is working for now. And what happens here is that even if it doesn't stay together the rest of the year, you know that at certain times, let's say in the playoffs, you run into a spot and maybe Kane's back with Draisaitl and it's not really clicking. You know that you have Draisaitl, Fogle, and McLeod that you can go to and get something out of it. So an unlikely trio, but a trio that's working nonetheless.
Oilers are in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, as
We're
of
back,
today,
and
they're
the
hanging
Oilers are
on
in
to
the
one of those
playoffs.
two wildcard
It's,
spots. So
so.
since we cracked our first 6 o'clocker lager, this team has been absolutely lights out. If you're looking at turning points for the season, I'd have to say that would be the one. You can text us 780-218-9999 or hit us up in the nasty chat as well. This text is in today and says, so happy that the boys are back. Can't wait for the lock shop today. Well, look at that. That's nice to see. If you haven't checked out the lock shop yet, 11 o'clock every single day here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Joel says I should keep them together. That being, there's no reason to break them up right now. The team's on an absolute heater. We saw Knobloch very, very, very briefly go away from the McDavid Hyman Nuge line. Went back to it, obviously. I think you probably ride with this Draisaitl, Fogle, McLeod line until it bucks you, as they say in the rodeo business. That's something that you could certainly look at and try to take advantage of. All right, the Edmonton Elks and Farhan, who broke this, is going to join us around 8:40 today to talk about it. Last season, it looked like a waste of a year. They went to Trey Ford in the second half. He started putting together some victories. There's certainly still some steps that need to be taken in the game of Trey Ford from a passing perspective. And in fact, there was a few games that I called this year where I thought he had an opportunity to run the ball for significant yardage, and he decided to try to pass, maybe trying to be a passer a little bit too much, more so than just do what you're good at. Trey Ford needs to let Trey Ford cook, as the kids say. And I'm not sure he's going, well, I'm pretty sure he's not going to get that opportunity this upcoming season. It was rumored last week. It was made official by the Elks yesterday. McLeod Bethel Thompson coming back, went down to the United States, played in the USFL, led the league in passing, led his team to a pretty decent season, was hoping to get a sniff in the National Football League. That really wasn't ever going to happen, in my opinion. It didn't happen. So he comes back. Chris Jones, they get rid of Cornelius. They get rid of Dunbar. We haven't even talked about that yet. And they basically sink that Cornelius and Dunbar money into McLeod Bethel Thompson. Rick, you watched McLeod Bethel Thompson for a few really good years in this league. What do you think of the decision for the Elks to bring him in right now?
Yeah, and on Dunbar as well, I think he was forming a bit of a relationship with Trey Ford too, and you saw some of that there, but he's gone, obviously, and Cornelius gone. MBT comes with some pedigree. I mean, this guy's been around. He's done the deed in this league a couple of times. It's the hard money that really makes you kind of okay, because if you're thinking, well, if he's coming in to mentor the guy, great, and if it's an open competition or whatever the case is, but it's that money, right?
Yeah.
But in Chris Jones's shoes, and if you and I were Chris Jones and you got to win yesterday, that's something, I guess that's a move you make. There's no time to be kind of experimenting and seeing what you got. Now, again, Trey Ford showed us a lot of good stuff, and you can kind of see what the future is there with him. But you need to win, and you need to win now, and perhaps that's the thought process probably going through Chris Jones' mind. But it does kind of... It goes back to the Brandon Bridge days, too, with Chris Jones. Now everybody can see this pattern of, he hates Canadian quarterbacks. I don't think it's as simple as that. I just think it's kind of, here you are, this is the situation they're in. But you need to win now. And you're bringing a guy that's done it a couple of times in this league. I think in most places that would be celebrated. It's just here what you saw with Trey Ford last year, and I think people expecting to kind of market him and get behind him and really build with him, that's taking a step or two back right now with the hard money. Because I just don't see how you're paying a guy like that.
They're not.
mentor a guy.
If you're paying him $450,000 in hard money plus the incentives to maybe push it up to $500,000. Trey Ford has lost his job as the number one starting quarterback for the Edmonton Elks. That's it. That's done. I mean, McLeod Bethel-Thompson is coming in on significant starter money. There is zero chance. There's zero chance you dump Cornelius on less starter money to bring in more. Like, so now they're going to have $100,000 in dead cap space. First CFL team to ever do that, by the way. $100,000 in dead cap space for Cornelius. So you're basically looking at $550,000 for MBT, basically, because you had to move out Cornelius to bring him in, and took a $100,000 hit there. So $450,000 in hard money for McLeod Bethel-Thompson makes him your number one guy. The Chris Jones, Trey Ford thing is fascinating to me because you brought up Chris Jones and Canadian quarterbacks, and Chris Jones,
there's a narrative
going to want that American quarterback from that big school. That's why they stuck with Cornelius as long as they did last year, as opposed to trying to get to Trey Ford a little bit earlier and maybe salvage the season. But Chris Jones is also the guy that used a first-round pick on this Canadian quarterback in Trey Ford. Even though the relationship last year between Chris Jones and Trey Ford was clearly stressed. That's not just like insiders being like, oh, they don't get along well. This was out in the media pretty clearly that Chris Jones did not like the way Trey Ford came in to start the season. Trey Ford thought he kind of got a little bit of a raw deal at the beginning of the year. When he finally got the ball midway through the season, it looked like he did get a raw deal at the beginning of the year because he looked pretty darn good. And now, from an organizational perspective, you sit here going into the offseason 2 months ago saying they want Trey Ford around the city. They want him on posters. They want him everywhere because he was the one reason people want to come out and watch the Edmonton Elks play football last year. To now, January 8th, it was announced January 7th, Trey Ford does not have his starter's job anymore, and they've gone out and brought a guy in his mid to late 30s back from basically spring league ball down in the United States to come in and essentially, as you pointed out right at the beginning of your conversation, save the franchise. Like that's what's I've seen it in the nasty chat. People saying the team is hemorrhaging money right now. Their only hope is to win football games. Go out and win 10, 11 games this year and get a crowd back at Commonwealth. If the best way to do that is with McLeod Bethel-Thompson, then I understand why you're doing it. But if it doesn't work, you're going to have all these people who bought season tickets because they want to watch Trey Ford, and you're sitting here going, yeah, but you won 6 games with MBT. Nothing was accomplished here, right? So
I get the Trey Ford hype and the love, but again, any other team, any other day of the week, any other situation, you're bringing a guy like this to win now would be celebrated. And the fact that it's kind of not being, people are saying, oh, now I'm questioning buying season tickets because you're bringing in a 2-time Grey Cup champion as quarterback. It's an odd conversation to have. But fascinating, and the money speaks. That's what it is there. I would mind if it was, you bring him in. The guy, of course, a little older now in the tooth. You bring him in, maybe they compete or whatever. But this clearly signals something. I just don't know what Trey Ford now might be thinking, or where that goes. Or
if you're Trey Ford, do you just suck it up again and you ride it out for a year, and maybe there's an injury and you get a chance?
A lot of runway ahead of you.
Maybe if McLeod Bethel-Thompson struggles, Chris Jones will be fired immediately. I mean, he would have to be. Or if you're Trey Ford, you go, hey, man, I wouldn't mind a fresh start somewhere else if it's not going to happen here. Like, you didn't want to give him the starter's job. You eventually basically had to go to him. He won you some football games, and now, once again, it's like, thanks for that, but
the fresh start, Ottawa? Like, I just,
Ottawa,
your boy, Bo Levi is back. Bo
Levi restructured his contract.
That was a bit of a shock to me, too. I didn't, but
part of me, and we'll see how the rest of free agency plays out, which starts in just over a month. Now that we have this clock here in the studio, it's 6:46 in the morning on Monday, January 8th. It's great on this clock. Free agency is February 13th, right? Is it the 13th?
The show
15th, 14th,
EST,
13th. I think
WST.
it's the 13th. That's going to be huge. We're going to have huge CFL free agency stuff because nobody else does, so we might as well do it. What do you think they could have been better? Let me just throw this theory out there. Run this by you here, Rick. Do you think they could have been better off spending the $450,000 that they've spent on McLeod Bethel-Thompson and spending it on at least 2 offensive linemen to protect Trey Ford and allow him to execute a little bit more freely in the pocket. Because if they don't add to the offensive line, you could throw prime Ricky Ray back there and nothing is going to be accomplished. Their offensive line, when you look at how it got graded out, I don't know right at the end of the season, but I know with like 3 weeks left in the season, the PFF grading system, the Elks offensive line, the 5 of them were in the bottom 9 offensive linemen in the league. The offensive line sucked last year. So would they have been better off spending $450,000 on 2 elite offensive linemen to protect Trey Ford, or $450,000 on McLeod Bethel-Thompson, just hope he can move the ball quick enough that the offensive line hasn't collapsed on him yet? Unless they still have money to spend on the offensive line, which if that's the case, then maybe it all works out. But if they don't upgrade their offensive line, this entire thing's a waste of time.
Well, that's where it starts and stops right there to win football games or whatever in that line. But yeah, maybe it's winging a prayer if you're hoping that MBT comes in and just the plan is just get the ball out of there as quick as you can, as opposed to a guy that can actually move and has a bit of mobility. It's a weird one, but as I said, 2-time Grey Cup champion, like this guy's got pedigree, and you're bringing him in to win now. In most markets, that'd be celebrated. And the fact that it's not here is weird. I understand it, but it is weird.
But when you have the young, most exciting quarterback in the league, we get it. We understand that. But it's like last year when they spent all this money at receiver. And I know it wasn't necessarily the plan. They were in on Lewis, and then it looked like they weren't going to get Lewis, so they spent money on Dunbar. They'd already signed Mitchell. They got Kyron Moore, who I think they have to bring back, and that's probably why they got rid of Dunbar.
Jones guy.
But then Lewis was like, okay, well, I'm good. I'm coming with you guys. So then they had to spend some extra money at receiver. But last year, as an example of it, at the receiver position, they had too much money pumped in the receiver position, not enough at the offensive line position, and your receivers are basically deemed useless when your quarterback doesn't have enough time to get these guys the ball. So unless there are improvements to the offensive line, I don't care who the quarterback is, you're not going to win football games. So they have to make sure they get that taken care of. If they can give McLeod Bethel-Thompson significant time in the pocket, he could do some serious damage with Geno Lewis and some of these guys that they've got there. I just feel like some of the money is a little bit misplaced.
But I just think giving up on the season right now is a little foolish. I get the frustration, but again, 2-time Grey Cup champion.
Guys, does Chris Jones need to call in and remind you guys not to talk about the past?
Well played.
That's it from T-Roy. That's right. When we had him on at the end of the season, he was like, no, we're not talking about the past.
It was the day after.
It was the day after the season. How do you have a guy on the show the day after the season and not talk about the season that just
happened? Don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been.
Chris Jones is funny sometimes like that. It's a lot of pressure on him.
But you turn that thermostat up just to, right?
Oh, yeah, it's cranked up now. That's for sure. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or you can hit us up in the nasty chat as well.
Tom Dixon's mustache. Chris Jones, always been an offensive, maintains, and defensive wins you games type of coach. Trey Ford, a little high risk, high reward quarterback. MBT safe. MBT more of a Jones type of guy. There is
100%.
That's
100%.
the process. That's where it all.
And so, are we okay if this is just Chris Jones saves his job type of thing?
Well, but do you want to win games or do you want excitement? I think everybody wants a bit of both.
Yeah, but if you improve the offensive line, you could probably win more games.
Sure.
I
think we're all in agreement with the offensive line, but it's interesting.
Fun discussion, isn't it? Give us the CFL season. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be a fun one. All right, let's get into our good, bad, and ugly from the weekend. You can text us yours, 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the nasty chat as well. We've got Darren Dreger coming up here just after 7 o'clock this morning. Mike Tanier at 7:45. Ryan Rishaug is going to pop by for the Monday morning Got Your Back mandate. Shoggy will be by around like 8:20, 8:25 today. And coming up at 8:40, Farhan Lalj will join us. He's obviously a CFL insider. We'll get his thoughts on Chris Jones, bringing in McLeod Bethel-Thompson. What should we expect from? How much game does he have left?
Well, really? That's another question.
Remember, he didn't lead the game-winning drive in the Grey Cup. Chad Kelly came in and led that drive. So we'll get into that a little bit.
2-time Grey Cup champion.
We'll get into that a little bit with Farhan when he pops by around 8:40 this morning. All right, Tenier, good, bad, and ugly from the week. Where are you going with your good?
The good bleeds into today. It's good to be back. I
it
think
is
we kind
nice to be back.
sometimes
Yeah,
Mondays
it's nice to
are
be back.
holidays, so I mean, I will kind of. It's good to be back. Good to see you. Good to see YouTube, Trev, and everybody else coming in. My Sunday was great too. I mean, I'm kind of getting back to probably clicking around an 85% right now in terms of
nice.
of health. I'm feeling good. But yesterday, Liverpool defeating Arsenal with a B team, going into the Emirates, defeating Arsenal's A team 2-0, advancing to the fourth round of the FA Cup. Hilarious stuff. And so much so that Klopp, if you tie that game, you have to play it again. It's called a replay.
Oh my!
And you don't want more games. You don't want more games in your schedule, right? So Klopp actively wants to lose these. If he's not winning, he wants to lose. And he brought on a bunch of youngsters to kind of lose the game.
And they won.
He still won. So Liverpool started my day off great, and then the Buffalo Bills just bookending it as well with that big win down in Miami. Josh Allen, John Elway on steroids. It's as I was saying, there's winning and then there's fun, and they're doing both right now. It's sandlot football. It's hilarious.
It is. To
I mean,
start the game with the picks and then
and they were looking really good. The punt return obviously shook things. That was just a fun football game to watch, probably for the neutral, but especially for a Bills fan. So I'll go with my personal Sunday with Liverpool and the Buffalo Bills, and with a nod to Jake Browning's girlfriend. You see that?
No, I didn't. What?
Just right now, I'd like a live reaction.
What?
She was, as the NFL schedule wraps up yesterday, Bengals quarterback Jake Browning's girlfriend in attendance, and I think she was in some sort of a space suit.
What is this?
Well, yeah.
What is this?
Uh-huh.
What?
Yeah. You get a load of this, Trev?
I don't know if that's comfortable or
Well,
not.
it's-
It looks way too tight.
I'll give it a good. Could be a bad. Some would say an ugly.
Jake Browning.
Got game, baby.
Nice. All right. My good. I'm going to go with a couple of Canadian teams in the West, man. That's going to be my good.
Okay.
Winnipeg Jets, points in 12 straight, first in the National Hockey League. The Edmonton Oilers, go look at Stoff's Twitter account. He's got all the highlights of everything that's happened lately. They're on fire. Top 4 in the league in goals for, goals against, power play, penalty kill since American Thanksgiving. So they've been absolutely rolling. And I'll heap these guys in here. The Vancouver Canucks are having a hell of a season as well. You can make a case that there's 3 Canadian teams that have a legitimate shot of making the Stanley Cup final out of the West this year. And you can really debate, who's got the best crack at it right now. So it's been a surprisingly insane year for the Jets and the Canucks. And it's been a frustrating year at times for the Oilers, but they're kind of playing at the level right now that we expected coming into the season. So a good time to be a Western Canadian hockey fan.
Yes, Western.
With the exception of the Flames, obviously.
Leafs, third in the Atlantic, 47 points.
Yeah, well, we'll get into Leafs a little bit with Dregs, and he pops by here just after 7 o'clock this morning. The bad from the weekend.
Well, it's bad to see the NFL regular season come to a close, as we always say, oh, it's already week 3. Oh, look at that, already week 7. Oh boy, that's a week that, and then it's done.
I was ready for this regular season.
I know, and I'm going to bleed that into my ugly as well. But I'll just say, just your comfortable Sunday afternoon. It's one of those things that takes up time on your weekend, right? I mean, obviously from a betting standpoint, it's highly. You're getting a lot from that, Mondays, Thursdays, Sunday nights. So the bad is we bid adieu or bid farewell to the NFL regular season, but roll on wildcard weekend. We finally cut off the fat that nobody needs, and I'm really looking forward to next Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with the Buccaneers and Eagles.
Bucks drawing the Monday nighter. What a time to be alive. The Lions
hosting the Eagles
against the Rams in the Stafford versus Goff. I'm
very emotional.
I'm
very
very
emotional.
worried. This is the most Detroit Lions thing ever. Win the division for the first time in 30 years. Take on your former first overall pick in the first round. I'm nervous. I think the Lions are a 3-point favorite right now, but I am nervous about them going up against the Los Angeles Rams. We'll leave it at that for now. We'll obviously discuss all these playoff matchups with Mike Tanier when he pops by. My bad from the weekend will be the situation for Trey Ford. Put yourself in Ford's shoes right now. That's a bad weekend. That's a kick in the balls weekend if you're Trey Ford coming out of last season, thinking that you're the guy, knowing that the organization wants to hype you up and build you up. Unless Chris Jones told him in exit meetings that, hey, you're not our guy, we're going to replace you. if he thought he was going to be the guy this year, this weekend sucked for Trey Ford. So that'll be my my bad for the weekend. Had to have been a bad weekend for one of the most exciting players in the Canadian Football League. All right, and your ugly. What do you got for your ugly?
It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I got the Jacksonville Jaguars here, too.
The season, ending yesterday with the investment failing to get the ball available. They need a running game. They need defense. They need a lot of things as a team. And you mentioned as well off the air earlier, this is the time to kind of
I'm doubling down on my Trevor Lawrence rookie card investment. I'm just going to start buying more because it's probably going to be at a low, and I'm going to just keep hammering this thing. That guy has what it takes. Did not live. Now, with that being said, I mean, they were cruising along until he got rolled up on.
Yeah. And
then he was basically questionable with it, whether it was the head or the leg. Like, he probably shouldn't have been playing for the last month of the season. But they didn't need much, but they lost 5 of 6 down the stretch.
A roster that screams out for more, I would think you could argue. 9-8 finishing the season. Congratulations to Norman, a Combine Texans fan, as they wrap up the AFC South. But 9-8 for the Jaguars early on. I mean, week 6, 8, they're just flying. Ugly for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ugly way to end as well, just kind of with him not being able to get the ball over the line.
That was my ugly. I got another quick story from Marshall's hockey game on Saturday. I was coaching, and I had a tee, not unlike this one, in a Toronto Blue Jays mug, which is different than my A&W mug. Anyway, I made the mistake. Actually, it was a tough hockey weekend for me in general. So I had the tee out, and I was drinking it. I was on the gate, kind of working with the kids, and I put my tee down on top of the boards at one point. Opened up the gate. Kid comes off with his stick, knocks my tee right down onto the ice. The top falls off. Tea spilt.
Hot tea.
All over the ice right near the bench. All the little kids, because it's U9, so they're all like 7, 8 years old. They're like, oh, did somebody pee on the ice? Oh. And I said, no, it's tea. They're like, did you say pee? They thought it was hilarious. So that was tough, though. That's a bad look at them. Like, quickly hop out, grab my... Oh, it was ugly. It was an ugly look. And then yesterday at Elizabeth had hockey yesterday. Shout out to the Muzz. Had a hat trick yesterday. Wow. Great, huge kick save in net, too. She had a nice little game yesterday. But I was over in the middle because, the 2 games going on, and a bunch of the other coaches are just in the middle messing around with the kids who aren't playing the game at the time. And some kid came in. I was kind of messing around in net. Some kid came in and, like, put a wrister right into my shin. And I was like, ow, that kind of stung a bit. Whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And then later, I was battling for pucks around the net with some kid, and his stick came up, clipped me right in the lip, and I was like, God, this is an awful, awful day. So then I get to the room after, and I take off my skate, and I lift up my track pants, and I had a goosebump on my shin. Must have been that big. It was unbelievable. I don't know, like just one little puck right to the shin.
Stitches on the lip,
shin, No. I was bleeding a little bit. But the goosebump, it was unbelievable. Tammy's like, oh my God, it looked like something from Total Recall. I had to go home and ice it. It was just like kids hockey just beat me up this weekend. It was unbelievable. Anyway, so that I guess would be my ugly. In addition to the Bones is in. It says Hyman and the Muzz. Yeah, the Muzz was just her second game back. She's still playing with a splint, so she's got a splint on her left arm, and she's wearing her brother's glove,
and
so she can put it over. And she put up a hattie yesterday. Yeah. Against the boys, as she says. So she was pretty excited yesterday. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And Marshall had a goal over the weekend too, so he was happy too.
Just take care of business.
Beat this one really good goalie we played against too. Beat him 5-0. He was pretty excited. Well, I was pretty excited about it. It was fun. All right, Darren Dreger's coming up. We'll get into the Oilers. We'll get into the Jets. Willie Nylander and the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to move there at some point. We'll get into all of that with Darren Dreger. He is going to pop by coming up here in just a couple of moments. Mike Tanier is on the way. Your thoughts on the Oilers rolling right now as well. McLeod Bethel-Thompson to the Edmonton Elks. We'll get into that. Coming up here a little bit more in hour number 2. We'll talk some World Juniors maybe with Dregs as well. But let's get to a sports rewind with Lieutenant Eric.
Buffalo Bills wrapping up their 4th straight AFC East crown, downing the Dolphins 21-14 from Miami. The Bills will host the Steelers. Wild card weekend Sunday. The Dolphins, they travel to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs Saturday night. Edmonton Oilers kick off a 3-game East Coast swing tomorrow in Chicago. They'll look to stretch their win streak to 8 following Saturday's win over Ottawa. Yesterday, it was the Blackhawks squad defeating the Flames 4-3. League-leading Jets over Arizona 6-2. Capitals defeating the Kings 4-3. LA have dropped 5 in a row. And Detroit edging out Anaheim 3-2. 4 games around the NHL later tonight. Over to the AJHL, Calgary blanking Lloyd 3-0. Blackfalds hammering Grand Prairie 7-3. And Okotoks shut out Drayton Valley 6-0. Action resumes tomorrow night with 3 games. RJ Barrett had a season-high 37. Raptors over the Warriors 133-118. Lakers taking care of the Clippers in the Battle of LA 106-103. 6 games dot the association schedule tonight. Chris Kirk taking the opening event of the PGA calendar. He'd shoot a final round 8 under to win the Century at Kapalua. College football's national championship tonight. Down in Houston, number 1 Michigan and number 2 Washington kick off 5:30. The Sports Rewind brought to you by Universal Rewind, industrial electric motor sales and service. Servicing many industries we rely on daily, from agriculture and aggregates to food processing and industrial manufacturing. Choose expertise, experience, quality. Choose Universal Rewind.
The Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.703, the Nielsen Show, back for the new year, and better than ever. Dusty and Lieutenant Eric with you. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Looks like winter's finally here, am I right? Now, look, if it's going to be cold, you might as well bring us some snow here, too. Like, we need to get the snow. The cold, meh, but we need to get some snow.
Say, how's that ODR?
Dropped another big
Nielsen
flood on it
Estates.
last
Yeah.
night. Pretty much ready to go. It was so tough to flood prior to Christmas. Came back and I've been dropping I'm talking like an inch, 2 inches on it for like the last 3 or 4 nights. So it's building up pretty good. If it wasn't, I guess today it kind of gets a little bit warm, doesn't it? Doesn't it warm up a bit today? What do we get to today?
I think we're kind of in it now, eh? Like this is, we're
Well,
kind
we
of
get to -9 this afternoon.
Your
Like-
overnight lows are nice and
Yeah.
Oh, little.
But we got snow coming on Tuesday and Wednesday. On Friday, you're looking at -37, a high of -29. So just now, as the rink is ready to go, it's going to be too damn cold to use it. But that's okay, because we'll get that snow, kind of get a bet on it. Then when it starts to warm up again in about 10 days, I'll shovel it off. It'd be perfect to go build a hammer for 2 months.
Switzerland, was it
So-
cold, hot? Like, I mean, what was the?
No, it was
no.
beautiful. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
+7, man. It was
Heaven on earth,
ridiculous
eh?
over there. It was like 4 feet of snow, +7. It was
Beauty.
Yeah, it was really nice. Really nice. 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the nasty chat today as well. Darren Dreger is our hockey insider today, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists, located in Edmonton. St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave. That's 1 block north of Yellowhead, or online at proamsports.ca. Like you, they are sports nerds too. I don't know. Dregs, would you refer to yourself as a sports nerd, or are we taking that too far?
Yeah, a little bit too far for me.
Okay.
The definition for sports nerd for me anyway is you cover just about everything, right?
Yeah.
Heat of the basketball season, playoffs. I would call myself a sports nerd now. I don't really have an NFL team, but I do enjoy this time of year in the National Football League, right? Because the intensity is high. In certain situations, you might see some upsets. We're seeing coach firings now. So I'm attracted to that. Obviously, I have to pay close attention to what's going on around the National Hockey League. But beyond that, I dabble. Nothing better for me as a Western Canadian when the curling season kicks in the full year.
Yes.
Right? Because, and I say nothing better, because you cozy up on the couch with a blankie, you turn the curling on, and it's just a great way to have a nap. right? And you wake up like 3-4 ends later, and you don't feel like you missed a whole.
No, you're
heck
caught
of
up
a
to
lot.
speed. It's great. Yeah.
It's kind of soothing. And golf for me is kind of like that as well. So,
100%.
I'm a bit of a hybrid sports nerd, I'd say that.
I think it would be a pretty interesting vote. What's the better napping sport, curling or golf? Right? Like that's a. I mean, in Canada, obviously,
With all due
curling would get the vote,
respect.
but yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right? Like
probably.
I also love both sports, but I also like to catch a good snooze. You know, so
I think in the winter, though, yesterday from Hawaii, that's what you want. You want that Hawaii
Hawaii
first
vibe.
thing.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
in the wintertime. You're snoozing on the couch.
Yeah, and nobody
Exactly.
cares who Chris Kirk is, who won the tournament. You know, like they're just there for a good time. All right, let's start with the Edmonton Oilers. They were on. They had one heater, got themselves really bad close to being in the mix, and they lost a small handful of games, and then they're on another 7-game heater right now. Have worked their way back into a wild card spot. You know, the Hyman, Nuge, McDavid line. You don't want to give too much credit to one line, but when they've gone supernova for the last month and a half, Dregs is going to make a big difference.
100%. And so when the Oilers were in the mud, that was a big part of what was going on, right? They weren't getting that secondary. I mean, geez, we could call it primary scoring from that line and others. And, you know, you see what McLeod has done of late. You see what Warren Fogle has done of late. And all of that makes a huge difference. It's just, there's a buildup now in confidence, I think, throughout that dressing room where, okay, they're going to lose games. That's pretty obvious. It's too tight a league to not lose moving forward. They're not going to run the table till the end of the regular season. But I think because they've got all hands on deck now, and if there's a sag, somebody's there to kind of grab and pick up and pull out the slack. I think that the headspace, the confidence level of the Oilers is as high as it's been in a long, long time. And man, they're going to need that, right? I mean, the motto going into the season was cup or bust. It feels like they've earned that now because they're back in the playoff picture. But you look around that Western Conference, I mean, do we really think that the Vegas Golden Knights are going to continue to flounder the way they are? No, they're going to get healthy, and they're going to be formidable. The Vancouver Canucks have been a great story all season long. Again, you know, they're going to be a really good team. You look over in the East and you see some of the teams that are on the march there. So timing couldn't have been better for the Edmonton Oilers, but they're probably sitting around going, geez, I mean, we knew we weren't nearly as bad as we were early in the season. Are we as good as we are right now? I guess time will tell.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You know, we still got quite a ways to go to the NHL trade deadline, but you know how it is in these Canadian markets. It'll be interesting to see here because, you know, you can look at it and go, wow, and they're going so good. You don't want to touch them. Just let them be and let them go on this run. But at the same time, you also look at it and go, well, maybe they've hit what we were expecting them to hit, and you got to give them the best chance they can to go on a run in the postseason. I guess what it does is it puts Ken Holland in a little bit more of a driver's seat, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah. You know, again, because they're a cap team, unless you've got injury, and nobody wants that. I mean, unless you've got some other flexibility mechanisms, you know, inside your cap, it's going to have to be dollar in, dollar out. I guess when I look at the Edmonton Oilers, I'm wondering what's their most pressing need. You know, Stu Skinner is playing excellent in goal. The defense, largely. I mean, every team, every Stanley Cup contending team always wants to bolster their blue line. And, you know, I wouldn't think that Ken Holland would be any different, you know, but you're not talking about a top 4 guy. You're probably looking at a depth acquisition, if anything. And I'd say the same thing would apply up front. But I was reminded going into the weekend, guys, that even though we like to talk about it, you know, we've come out of the holiday freeze, and the expectation is that, okay, well, the trading is going to start imminently. It has to get going here. You know, probably more than coming out of the holiday roster freeze is the All-Star. That's when teams really start to become buyers and they become sellers. Because, look, we can look at the standings now and we can see definitively who's not going to make the playoffs. But those teams still don't know what they're willing to move at this stage. So I think we're 2-3 weeks away from the wheeling and dealing process getting going, unless you're the Vancouver Canucks, who have already made a deal, right, in landing Zadorov, and with Jimmy Rutherford essentially at the helm. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something. But aside from the teams who have a history of jumping early, I think teams like Edmonton and the other contenders are willing to be patient and let the market truly show itself.
Darren, you've been on this one. William Nylander, an 8-year extension imminent today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Thoughts on this? He's on pace, career best goals, points this season as the Leafs continue to kind of lock up that top-heavy core. Just your thoughts going forward as goaltending still remains an issue.
Yeah, it's a big number, right? We believe that the annual average salary will come in at $11.5 million per year times 8. So you're talking about $92 million. Now, they're cleaning things up, so there's a bit of work that needs to get done before they make the announcement official. Perhaps it happens as early as today, game day tomorrow, so we'll see. But Brad Treliving has put a lot of work into this. And, Leafs Nation, there are many, certainly in the media, who are questioning, okay, how can you have this many $11 million plus players, right? And I understand that. It's fair. But what are you going to do with William Nylander? You're simply going to let him shut the negotiation down? And I'm not saying that was a real threat, but if I'm the Nylander camp, I get to that place sooner rather than later. Yeah. I establish where my game is at. This guy is a star/superstar player in the NHL. And if you don't like 11 and a half, okay, well, let's see how you like it at the end of the year when my options are fully open and I can walk into free agency. Now, you're getting a 7-year term in free agency as opposed to the 8 that he's getting from the Maple Leafs. But, Nylander banked on himself, and he's proven to be a player that the Toronto Maple Leafs just can't see living without. So Treliving's going to have to sharpen his pencil moving forward, and that's in the next season, even though the cap is going up. But he didn't have a choice here. He didn't have a choice with Austin Matthews. He doesn't have a choice with William Nylander.
Yeah, it's such a bad problem to have all these amazing players, right? You got to pay these guys. It's just that simple. And Nylander's been absolutely incredible so far this year. How would you rank, as far as those 4 guys go who are going to be making those big bucks, as far as an importance level to the team, how do you break that down?
Well, look, I would say that William Nylander has been Toronto's most consistent. And that's saying a lot because Austin Matthews in the last month has been on a torrid pace. And goals will always matter more than anything else. But Nylander is right there. So, on any given day, there's your 1-2. Marner takes a lot of heat in this market, even though his point production continues to be on pace, what you would expect it to be. And then you've got John Tavares, who continues, again, to put up the points. He's having a good season. But at the end of the day, that core is going to have to be addressed here, right? The cap goes to 87.7 next year. Well, that money is going to be absorbed by William Nylander. So let's assume that it goes up a bit after that. The heavy lifting for Brad Treliving, for me, gets into the offseason because you've got Tavares who's going into the final year of his deal. So is John Tavares, as captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, going to want or be willing to take way less? He's not making $11 million playing for the Leafs moving forward. Do you make a decision on Mitch Marner? Again, this guy is just a beacon for the Heat in Toronto, and every team seems to have that player. Do you consider him as a trade option? So there's some, and as far as goaltending goes, which you kind of touched on, they're going to have to stay cheap in goal. They're going to have to rely on Joe Woll, and then they're going to have to assume that Fraser Minton is NHL ready next year because he'll be on an entry-level contract, which they're going to need more of. So that's the predicament of the Maple Leafs.
Fascinating build, no doubt about it. We'll see how they can go about that. A little bit of a different build with the Winnipeg Jets, but obviously whatever they've done has very much worked. Putting the Jets into the playoffs at the beginning of the season certainly would have been part of the conversation. To have them on January 8th being the first place team in the National Hockey League, that's quite something. Obviously, when it goes as well as it has, there's got to be 1 or 2 storylines that have really emerged there. So what is it about the Winnipeg Jets this season, Dregs?
Well, for me, it's the trade that Cheveldayoff made with the Los Angeles Kings. And he brings in Iafallo, and he brings in Velarde and Kupari, and we haven't even really seen Kupari yet. Kyle Connor is hurt with that knee injury, so we haven't seen a full kind of dose of the chemistry between Kyle Connor and Gabe Velarde, but they believe it's there. And then you've got Iafallo, who's been playing with Cole Perfetti and Nemestikov, and that second line for the Winnipeg Jets has been terrific. And then, their defense is rock solid. Nate Schmidt was on the block last year. And he really seems to have settled his game down as a solid defender. You know what you're getting from Nate Schmidt game in and game out. And then they've got some high-end talent, obviously, on the back end. And it's all kind of brought together by the Vezina season that Connor Hellebuyck is having for the Winnipeg Jets. I don't think Chevy gets enough credit. I really don't. And by extension, ownership. They could have gone the opposite direction. They could have moved Hellebuyck. They could have moved Mark Scheifele. Instead, they find a way to get both those superstar players on real affordable contract extensions. And that just delivered an injection to the rest of the group. Hey, we're here to contend. And the rest of the team has come together under the guidance of good coaching in Arneal and in Rick Bowness. And they're proving that the investment made by ownership and management was wise. They're a real good team, top to bottom.
Dregs, quickly before we let you go, Connor Bedard is out on a hit that, because it's Connor Bedard, was obviously going to create a lot of conversation. I didn't think anything really could have been or should have been done differently on the play. Just an unfortunate break, for lack of a better term, for Bedard.
Well, look, I mean, if Smith doesn't make that play, then he's getting back to the bench, and he's probably getting an earful. You know, I didn't think it was a dirty play at all. Unfortunate, of course. I don't like it because Bedard is out for an extended period here with a fractured jaw. But there's a lesson in this too, right? He's a real nifty and a nimble player, dynamic player with a head most often on a swivel, right? Like he doesn't skate his way into problem areas very often. And in this case, he makes a mistake and he pays a price. So there was a lesson to be learned in it. I like the response by the Chicago Blackhawks to that play, because you don't like seeing your star teenager, walk off or skate off the ice in the fashion that he did. But I didn't think it was malicious. I thought it was a hockey play that had a bad result.
Yeah, sucks to not see him for the next little while, but I didn't have an issue with the play either. Dregs, as always, man, really appreciate the time. Happy New Year, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah. Okay, guys, have a good one.
There you go. That's Darren Dreger, Ray and Dregs podcast. You can find them there as well. And, of course, on TSN. I don't need to tell you about his Twitter because he's already got 1.1 million followers. So you're probably already following Darren Dreger on social media. Lots of good hockey conversation in there with Dregs. You can chime in on any of it at 780-218-9999. That is the Paris Jewelers inbox as we now transition from Christmas to Valentine's Day. And you're going to be doing all your Valentine's Day shopping at Paris Jewelers. Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, why would you go anywhere else if you're one of our listeners? Paris Jewelers is the place to be. 780-218-9999. Boy, where do we go coming out of that conversation with first of all, the Nylander thing is something else. Like, another $11 million ticket. They're close to being done with John Tavares, right? What did he say? He's got a year left on his deal.
Well, he's their playoff guy.
But purpose has probably been served with John Tavares. His best years will be behind him. I mean, that's and then you keep Matthews, you keep Marner, and you keep Nylander on the big tickets. I'm always fascinated with Drake's brought it up again, the Heat. Like, I don't follow the Leafs market or Leafs Nation or whatever they call themselves near close enough to know that Marner's like the whipping boy all the time. But maybe I'm out to lunch on Marner, but I think Marner's a pretty phenomenal player. Obviously, there's aspects to his game that do not sit well with Maple Leafs fans, but that's a guy that I'd probably want to keep around.
As Darren said, what do you do, right? You let him go, you let him walk, you gotta kind of wrap him up and keep him there. And it's just very, very top heavy. Hey,
it's super duper. Like, dare I say it, they really could have used a Hyman on a sweetheart deal like the one that the Oilers have with him right now. He's been absolutely outstanding for your Edmonton Oilers, who've been red hot as of late once again.
Also, getting back to that sport you can fall asleep to, Formula One might check in. Might have a bit of a. There are a few people suggesting that. But it starts and you watch the first couple laps. Then in the middle you can kind of like. And
plus
then you wake
early
up
in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe I did put up a poll question on this.
Love it.
I put up a poll question. By the way, I agree with Dregs on the Bedard thing. I had no problem with the hit, but I also didn't have a problem with the Hawks wanting to be pissed off and fight people. It was. I thought it was a clean hit. I know some of them. Their coach basically said it was a clean hit.
He wasn't mic'd up saying I'm going to take him out or anything, eh?
No, definitely not. But at the same time, whether it's a clean hit or not, if somebody blows up Connor McDavid, how can you have a problem with somebody coming to the aid of Connor McDavid even on a good, hard, clean hit? That's your guy, Right? You don't want to see your guy even take a good, hard, clean hit. I know it happens. But if Connor McDavid has his head down at center ice and gets blown up on what, and I know in Edmonton it would never be viewed as a clean play, even if it is the cleanest hit ever, you're going to have an issue with Evander Kane coming over and dropping the gloves and fighting the guy just because you hit the captain. I don't know why anybody, I mean, people can say, it's soft. No, you don't have to do that. But, if somebody blows up Warren Fogle going through the neutral zone and it's a clean play, that's different. Somebody takes a clean hit on McDavid or Draisaitl and Desharnais or Kane or Fogle or somebody Ernie wants to stand up for their teammates. I don't have an issue with that. I don't know.
More concerned if they didn't, maybe.
Well, I mean, even on a good, clean, hard hit, you want to look after your top guys. That's just how it works. So I threw this out there. We had that conversation with Dreger. He was talking about curling and how he's a curling guy. Oh, he said he doesn't mind falling asleep to it as well. So I put this out there. I said, as per our conversation with Dreger this morning, what's the best napping sport? 58.5% of the vote is on golf, which I would agree with. Golf would be my number one.
Especially at this time of...
One round is very
majors
long.
and-
You can sleep for 2.5 hours, still pick up holes 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Curling's got 15% of the vote. And baseball, I threw baseball in. I don't know how we didn't bring up baseball with Dregs. Baseball is a great napping sport, even with the new pace of play. But baseball at 26.5%. So golf running away with it. Baseball in second right now. Curling at 15%. You said some people are texting in or in the nasty chat saying Formula One. Maybe what else could we put in?
You could have a few others, maybe. I mean, I don't think anybody was falling asleep to the darts action the last little while, and that going on with the World Darts Championship. I like how this poll is shaping out. I like the golf touching that 60. Curling, little respect to the Canadian game there, but baseball, man. A matinee, a nice evening, first pitch, 8-something out in West Coast. You can fall asleep any time of the day in the baseball.
People have been falling asleep to athletics games for 20 years.
Even with the pace of play.
In attendance.
Pace of play.
Sean says soccer.
You could. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could.
Depending on the game. Depending on the teams.
It does go by relatively quick, though.
Well, it doesn't stop.
It doesn't
it's
stop,
continuous.
right? It's
There's
like our show,
exactly.
uninterrupted. Hit us up, Nasty Chat, or at 780-218-9999. RCN says, hey, I missed the 6 o'clock hour. I'd been saving a lager for today. I was going to pound one back for today's return. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, that's a good idea for tomorrow. Get a little 6 o'clocker lager up in you. Delicious. Delicious.
Chock full of vitamins.
There's a flat of 6 o'clocker lager just sitting over here. I think
what is that, eh?
Cam from Alley Cat just dropped that off on Friday.
Is that what it is?
That was a nice little treat, eh? Nice little New Year's
It
surprise.
wasn't Friday. It was Saturday.
It was Saturday.
Oh, yeah. I showed up and it was here, and Tommy was like, did you bring this in? I'm like, no. Did you bring this in? He's like, no. So,
Wait a second.
idea.
It was inside the doors?
Yeah. I think.
Well, it would have had to have been on Friday then.
No. He didn't come in. Or he did come in Friday, but he didn't bring it Friday.
How would he got it in here?
I have
then
no
on
idea.
Saturday?
I think he just left it at I don't think it was inside. I think he left it at the door.
And then Tommy brought it
And
up?
then Tommy brought it up.
Okay, that makes
That
more
would
sense.
make, yeah, because
Who gave Cam from Alley Cat a key to her place?
Yeah.
Risky move, leaving it at the door, too. That stuff
Yeah.
is, I mean,
That's true. Especially when Russian
the
spa
spa
guys,
get on it.
they've had a taste of that.
Exactly.
And now we're going to start leaving flats out there with 6 o'clocker Santa. They're just dropping things off. All right. Hey, we're back. It feels good. Starting to get into the groove a little bit now. Hey, are you feeling a little bit of the groove now,
I'm
too?
feeling it. Yep.
Yeah.
85. I started 85. I'm up to about 88.
Well, you're
88%.
88%
Yeah, I'm getting
now.
there.
Confidence
Flip
is
the
high.
90. Yeah.
Confidence is high, Julian. Which is that in the Big Dirty? That's one of my favorite things in Trailer Park Boys. I think it was in the Big Dirty. They were robbing something, and Corey and Trevor are on the job. And Julian's like, confidence check. And Corey, I think it was one of them, Corey or Trevor was like, confidence is only about 65%. And then Ricky was like, come on, Trevor, you can do it. He goes, thanks. Confidence check at 100%. It's just, it was a classic line. God, I love those shows. That's so good. Or you get to your Coolbet hotline of the day. And then just after 7:30, we'll come back around to what I said. I'm changing, lifestyle change. Lifestyle change since I was over in Switzerland. You got about 5-10 more minutes to try to guess what it is. Nobody's got it just yet. Now, it was somewhat forced upon me. I'll give you a little clue here. It was somewhat forced upon me during my time in Davos. But it's something that a lot of people have probably been doing here for years. So we'll see if anybody can get this in the next 10 minutes. But this is gonna be me
Foot
to this
bath.
thing. Like,
You're gonna live with me now.
yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. Cause I love you. I love you, John. Oh, I love you.
Oh yeah, I love this. I love this new thing.
It's on yesterday.
Was it?
Saw it on the television.
Tombstone and Goonies was on yesterday?
Tombstone the day prior.
was that on
it was a
Saturday?
weekend. Yeah, it was an EST
That makes
weekend.
sense. Yeah,
And,
real nice weekend. That's why they put some of the best shows. I do have my Sloth Loves Chunk shirt. I got it for Christmas.
The good one.
I got a pack of 5 black T-shirts with sayings on them for Christmas. I'm wearing one right now. It says "Back off, War Child." Seriously, from Point Break. It's a classic line in itself. All right, let's get to your Coolbet hotline of the day today. Oh, guess who signed up for Coolbet over the holidays? HR Daddy. HR Daddy signed up for a Coolbet account and was stressing over the $1 he bet on the Winnipeg Jets as a heavy money line favorite. He won 38 cents. And he was like, oh, no, when they were down. I was trolling him a little bit. It was a game against the Ducks on the weekend, and they were down 1-0 after 1 to the Ducks. And I was like, hey, Dad, Jets are losing. He's like, what? And he bet $1 on the game. He was
This won't be affecting our pay then, I guess, in the long run.
he was. I don't. Well, if HR Daddy starts skimming off the EST books because of his new Coolbet account, I am going to be very, very disappointed. That would not be a good look. Not be a good look at all. What have I done? All right. Anyway, I think we have to go Washington, Michigan tonight. The spread is 5. The total is 56 in this football game. Washington is averaging 37 points per game this season. Michigan, a nation best, allowing just 10. Washington, if you like them to straight up win this game, money line plus 160. I don't know, Rick. I mean, you're more into college football than I am.
Harbaugh's final ride, hey? Held Alabama to 10 in the, or 20
That being
in the
said,
Rose Bowl.
Alabama, I was a little surprised Alabama scored 20. I'm considering the way that Alabama offense has been this year.
I was hoping maybe the Coolbet we could move it after Farhan Lalj and get his thoughts on what Penix Jr. could do against this Michigan defense.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I mean, you got the offense of the Huskies and the defense of the Wolverines, and I don't know which one's going to break. Both undefeated teams, both lights out this season in those respects. Defense wins championships, but I like the offense. I want, as a neutral fan, I want some entertainment here. I want some high flying Penix Jr. highlight reel throws and catches and touchdowns, and kind of like to go with the offense in the national championship. I don't
So you
know.
want to take Washington plus 5?
I don't know.
What about this total at 56? For Michigan to only allow 10 points per game, for this total to be at 56. Like I said, I don't know enough about college football to have a strong lean one way or the other on this total. Part of me feels like is this a 30-20 game? Is this a 30-25 game? Because that would hit the under.
Washington plus 5 in the under.
Really? Let's just go. You just want to go Washington plus 5?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, let's just go Washington. He's going to take Washington plus 5. This is going to be an Eric play for your Coolbet hotline of the day. Washington plus 5 points tonight. Your Coolbet hotline of the day. It's going to be tough with Farhan because Farhan will be covering this, but is also a huge Washington fan.
Go Dogs, yeah.
There's not very many times media nowadays are huge fans of certain things, but Farhan makes it well known that he's a huge Washington fan. So might be tough to get a unbiased play from him, but he'll be by around 8:40 this morning. Big Maple Sports Card says Washington money line, but take the spread if you're still reeling from the holidays. So that's another play for you as well. Boys, listening live is just buffering for me. I'm not sure if it's just a me problem or not, but YouTube works instantly. Excellent. J Dorothy 88. J Dorothy 88, just quickly. We are not seeing anybody else having issues with that, so that might just be a you issue.
Refresh. If you've got the little the app on the phone, just redo that, right? Re-download that, re-bookmark it, everything. Should be good.
Probably be okay there. All right. Let's get to a sports update for Park Mazda. Mike Tanier's coming up here around 7:45 today. We'll start to set up the NFL playoff picture. Arthur Smith fired, which is great news for somebody who has fired. Ron Rivera?
This morning, yes.
Okay, I missed that one. Did that just happen?
Okay,
so we'll get into Rivera. We'll get into Arthur Smith. Don't think, what is this, Black Monday? Don't they call this Black Monday south of the border? Isn't that kind of what it is? So
Smith was pissed there after that.
Well, Smith is a good riddance. This guy killed Bijan Robinson's fantasy value. He's completely ruined Pitts. He's a mess. I don't usually like to see somebody lose their job, but I'm excited for a fresh start for some of my dynasty fantasy guys in Atlanta. Let's just say that for now. All right, let's get into it. Sports update with LT.
As Dusty mentioned, Black Monday in the NFL. The Commanders firing head coach Ron Rivera this morning. Falcons dismissing Arthur Smith yesterday after 3 seasons at the helm. Carolina Panthers as well this morning, firing GM Scott Fitterer. The Bills last night winning their 4th straight AFC East crown, downing the Dolphins 21-14. Bills will now host the Steelers on Sunday, while the Dolphins head to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs Saturday night on Wild Card Weekend. Oilers kick off a 3-game East Coast swing tomorrow in Chicago as they look to stretch their win streak to 8 following Saturday's win over Ottawa. Yesterday, it was a banged-up Bedardless Blackhawks squad defeating the Flames 4-3. Jets over Arizona 6-2 as Winnipeg continues to lead the NHL. Caps defeat the Kings 4-3. LA have dropped 5 straight. And Detroit edging out Anaheim 3-2. 4 games around the NHL tonight. Oil Kings dropping one to the Hitmen 5-1. Edmonton back on the ice Thursday when they host Tri-City. Just one game in the PWHL tonight as Boston hosts Ottawa. AJHL action saw Calgary blank Lloyd 3-0. Blackfalds over Grand Prairie 7-3. And Okotoks shutting out Drayton Valley 6-0. Action resumes tomorrow night with 3 games. Over to the NBA, RJ Barrett, a season-high 37. Raptors bounce the Warriors 133-118. Lakers taking the Battle of LA 106-103 over the Clippers. 6 games around the NBA tonight. And college football's national championship this evening down in Houston between number 1 Michigan and number 2 Washington. Kickoff at 5:30. Sports update brought to you by the staff at Park Mazda and Mitch Lewicki. He can't make a good soup. He can't do a handstand in a pool. He can't spell the word lieutenant, but he can damn well sell you a car.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a figure skater. He wears like a white outfit and he does interpretive ice dances to my life's journey.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
I've got something under my skin, and the itch won't go away. It's my original sin, the poison that I crave. Come along for the ride, I'd make you feel better. Cut the rope that I tied, but then I broke my skin again. You got me fiending for that first high, but the feeling's not the same. You got me stealing, killing, I die just to feel you in my veins.
Whale and the Wolf, EST House Band. Back banging it out here in 2024 with us. If you've not yet followed them on Spotify, go give them some streams. The boys will love you. And still an all-time EST moment when they came walking out of the closet prior to their hangout appearance. Just too good.
They need a little air.
They had to. They've been in there.
It was reeking
Been in there forever.
Yeah.
Mixing a shower, boys. That'd be nice. Mike Tanier coming up. We're going to get into that. Hey, who was the GM of the Carolina Panthers that got let go. What's his name?
Yeah, Scott Fitterer.
I guess you could say Scott was not a fitterer moving forward. And let's try that again. It looks like Scott wasn't the right fitterer moving forward. Because of fit. He's
I
fit
know
moving forward.
Jacksonville took my ugly, but the Panthers, man, full credit to the Bucks, and I understand somebody's got to win that division, but
Yeah.
that was disgusting.
Yeah.
9-0. I mean,
they have not guided the team very effectively, have they? 780-218-9999 in the Paris Jewelers inbox. That's where we can. That's where you can get a hold of us. We'll hammer back into that here coming up a little bit later on as well. McLeod Bethel Thompson, now your starting quarterback of the Edmonton Elks. We're going to get into that with Rishaug. We're going to get into that with Farhan. But funny, though, I saw Farhan reply to my show tweet. He goes, wait a second, is Rishaug actually going to talk football with you guys? I do like Farhan. Look, Farhan covers the Canucks. He's also heavily invested in football. I do like him taking football shots at Shoggy. Uncalled for. We're going to have to bring that up with Rishaug because Farhan will be following up right after that today. But we're obviously going to get into McLeod Bethel Thompson. The Elks trying to fast forward. You know, they path back to respectability by bringing in a veteran quarterback here for Chris Jones. So we'll see if that ends up working. We'll get into that. If you want to chime in on that, 780-218-9999. The Oilers have obviously been on an absolute heater here since American Thanksgiving. A very streaky club, no doubt about it. But when they are streaking on the good side of things, things are great.
more good streaks.
Yeah.
More larger good streaks than the
Well,
than
now
the
what
bad.
they've done is they put themselves into the conversation here, not only for a wild card spot, but can they possibly track down, the Kings or the
Kings have been
struggling
faltering,
Golden
yeah.
Knights? What they will have to, nothing against Dylan Holloway, but this team has stayed relatively healthy this season. They will need to continue to have the hockey gods from a health perspective be on their side, but they have been absolutely rolling so far, so we can certainly get into that as well. Jay Dorothy 88 says, what's with that Bethel Thompson move? Trey Ford is the future, no? Well, I think you would still like Trey Ford to be the future. Do you think there is a way? Now, he is on Trey Ford's under contract, and unless he tries to force his way out, he's going to be here. Could this end up being maybe the best thing that ever happened to Trey Ford?
Could be.
He didn't learn anything from Taylor Cornelius. I mean, they're both young guys trying to find the way on their own. Chad Kelly worked underneath McLeod Bethel Thompson and ended up becoming a starting quarterback. Where do we come out on this maybe being a good thing for Trey Ford if he's willing to possibly wait another year here?
Two different paths from Kelly and Ford, obviously, kind of the American side, the draft and all that, and him coming up here. It could be a good thing. The future doesn't necessarily have to be now, does it? I think we were all hot and horny, obviously, from last season.
The future doesn't have to be now because now is the present.
Now is the present, and you need to win in the present, so you need to bring something. I do wonder, the hype that was generated from Trey Ford here in this, I wonder if that does resonate league-wide in terms of film rooms, front offices with all the other...
Do you think other teams are saying, we have to go get Trey Ford because they're not going to use him now?
I know it's said here, and I know the fan base here, and rightfully so. I mean, what we saw from him was electric, but is that shared league-wide? And maybe, perhaps, I don't know, maybe for some it isn't. And of course, we can say, well, Trey Ford's mad and he'll go somewhere else. Well, it is a 9-team league, and teams do have certain things. I mean, I mentioned Bo Levi restructuring his deal with the Ticats. Maybe you could look at Ottawa, maybe something there, but it's a long schedule. I've always maintained you need two good quarterbacks in the CFL to kind of get you through where you want to go at times. These are two guys now that possess two different play styles, much like Cornelius.
You can mix in some Trey Fords and some MBT.
Why not?
Look what
Why
happened
not?
with Chad Kelly in Toronto.
1A, 1B, why not? I know the money's there, and I know that everybody looks at the money and says, 1 + 1 is 2, and he's making the money, so he has to take the snaps, but who's to say?
I don't think it would be viewed as a 1A, 1B. I think
No,
it would be
but I'd like
a
it.
1 and a usable 2.
Sure.
Right? You want to chime in on this, feel free to do so. 780-218-9999. Be interesting to see if they can make it work that way. We'll get into a little bit of Farhan when he joins us in about 1 hour because I'm looking at our new studio clock and it's 7:40 right now in the morning. Which brings us to Mike Tanier, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. You're looking for some of those NFL sideline hats. They've got you covered. I got a beautiful Detroit Lions hat delivered to me over the holidays.
Pro-Am.
It's a nice Buffalo Bills hat. That hat straight from Pro-Am?
Yep.
Such a nice looking Buffalo Bills lid, buddy.
Great.
You're all done up in your
Feeling
Bills
good.
today. It looks. You should feel good.
I've been taking it from Dolphins fans all season long, and now I don't. Where are they?
I can't understand if like the Bills. Like, do you have confidence in the Bills heading in the playoffs? Because they seem to just be hanging by a thread in almost every single game.
It's fun. It's entertaining.
Yeah,
Like,
it is highly entertaining. Yeah. Like, I feel like Josh Allen could go on like an all-time run and win the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Or could totally blow it in the first.
Got a couple
round
defensive
of the playoffs,
injuries as well last night, which is ideal. I mean, it's but we'll see. It's entertaining.
All right, Mike Tanier from the Messenger joins us. Mr. Tenier, Happy New Year. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, and you're talking about the Buffalo Bills. I can say with confidence that the good Bills can beat the bad Bills.
Yes,
most weeks.
Well, that's like the Bills really are a mystery, aren't they?
Yeah, they are their own worst enemy, and they're a danger to themselves and others. But they are a mystery in that they could run this table and win the Super Bowl, and no one would blink. And they could lose 24-0 with 4 interceptions next week, and no one would blink.
Okay, so what about the other team last night? What about the Miami Dolphins? They're now going to have to go on the road to Kansas City, where it's looking awfully chilly in Kansas City for this playoff game on Saturday night. Did the Dolphins just piss away a really good season by losing one game to the Bills?
I don't know, because they pissed it away in a lot of other ways. There are a couple of games that the Dolphins left on the table entering this one. Whereas if you got to win against the Titans a couple of weeks ago, you're not worried about last night's game, and you're starting your backups, et cetera. There's a lot of ways the Dolphins could have done this better. And the Dolphins played pretty well overall last night. It was 14-7 in the fourth quarter. Yeah, there were some self-inflicted Bills mistakes, but there were a lot of places where the Dolphins defense played very well. They were moving the ball pretty well overall most of the game. It didn't convert the points, but big punt return touchdown, inability to stop the other team in the fourth quarter. They just kind of went into a blackout mode in the fourth quarter. And I think we've seen that against better opponents by the Dolphins too often. Oh, we're in a real game here. Oh, we don't really know how to manage that. We're just good at stomping on the Giants and the Panthers and the Jets.
Mike, where did it all go wrong down in Jacksonville this season? 9-8. I mean, they were trucking along. I know Trevor Lawrence injury, but that's still not a complete team. Your thoughts on what it was for Jacksonville this season?
Yeah, we knew they weren't an incomplete team, but they should have been in that division, an 11-win, 12-win incomplete team that then, loses to the Ravens or the Bills in the playoffs. And I keep looking at the fact that the offense doesn't always look in sync, and whether Lawrence is healthy or not, or Christian Kirk is healthy, they're just bad on third down. They're bad in the red zone. The defense doesn't tackle very well. The defense, it's not as physical as it should be. There's not a lot of bodies in the secondary. I keep looking at this team as an unprepared-looking team. And I keep looking back at Doug Peterson's habit and reputation of shortening practices, canceling mini camps, giving everybody extra day off and an extra day off. That kind of fell apart in Philadelphia with him, where the team couldn't follow up the Super Bowl and seemed to get a little lackadaisical. I worry that the same thing's happening in Jacksonville, and that Peterson has to start by saying, hey, you know what, guys? We're beginning and ending our practices on time every week, every day next week, and we're not doing some of these things because you guys have to have your fundamentals sharp throughout the season.
Mike Tanier with us from the Messenger. I do want to take a look ahead here to the postseason, but before we get there, is there a happier fan base today than the Atlanta Falcons?
They have to be thrilled. Yeah, what's funny is Falcons fans were over the moon at the start of this season. I think they had a point. I think, well, if Arthur Smith really is this revolutionary coach, and you bring in Bijan and you brought in all these guys on defense, yeah, in that conference, in that division, that should be 10, 11 wins. I see it. And Arthur Smith could not have mismanaged his offensive talent worse. I can't imagine somebody more fundamentally doing the opposite, not just doing something bad, but the opposite of what you're supposed to do time and time again. So Falcons fans have to be happy, and they have to be looking at this and saying, hey, with some of the talent we have on this roster, offense and defense, things can turn around quickly if we get a coach who just hands the ball to Bijan and throws it to Kyle Pitt.
I know. It can't be that difficult. My goodness. What about Rivera? Rivera being out here as well.
Yeah, he's going to wind up being a hot defensive coordinator candidate. I think his time as a head coach is done for now. The Commanders idled in neutral for too many years. It was just too much of a, hey, well, maybe we'll try Sam Howell this year at quarterback. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll do that. But I think that team, like you can see, they're hiring like the ultimate brain trust here to try to bring in their next coach. I think the first thing they'll do is call Bill Belichick. But Rivera's a guy who won as a defensive coordinator, and you know what? Philadelphia Eagles are going to probably be looking for a defensive coordinator in about 8 days, and Rivera would be enticing there as somebody who's part of that broad family of coaches.
Mike, Matt Stafford going back to Detroit. Please, your thoughts. As a Lions fan sitting next to me, he's sweating. He's sweating already.
Well, I mean, this is the most Detroit Lions thing ever. I mean, I've been a fan for my entire life. I've never seen any sort of semblance of success. And now we win the division, and Matthew Stafford's going to come back home and destroy us in a playoff game. I'm extremely rattled about this right now.
Well, are you one of the Lions fans who was rooting for the Rams in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago? If so, you deserve this.
It's true. I was. You're right. I wanted to see him have success. I always loved Matthew Stafford, you know?
Yeah. You brought this on yourself. You know, outside observer, it's like, okay, this is an interesting story. Maybe people are going to make too much of it. I guess I haven't thought about the reality of a Detroit Lions fan looking at this situation. It's like, oh, my God, this is how it goes out. But, hey, I think the Lions are favorites. I think they're favorites for a reason. I think the Rams are a little overvalued right now, and this should be a game that the Lions can win.
Oh, I like hearing that.
There you go.
Yeah, you just changed my mood all week. I'm very much looking forward to this now. Okay, so Baltimore and San Francisco, they've got the buys for the upcoming week. Are you thinking that in the end it's going to be a Niners-Ravens Super Bowl, or are there some teams playing this upcoming weekend that you think have a legitimate shot at taking down one of those two clubs?
I think we started out with that. I think the Bills would be that team. The hot version of the Bills can be the disruptor. I have no faith in any of the other teams. Yeah. I have no faith in any other team. Yeah, the Cowboys maybe kind of, sort of, but it is hard to build an argument for any other team except, oh, well, somebody gets hurt for the Ravens. You know, somebody gets hurt for the Niners, and that's what happens. I'm looking at the odds right now. Niners are minus 125 to win the NFC. Minus 125. The house does not want action on that. Ravens are at plus 125. Bills are at plus 260. The house agrees with me. Now, I mean, if you're a betting person, unless you really love the juice, or you're a huge, you're a huge fan of Matthew Stafford, and you want to take that plus 2,000, go with the Niners versus the Ravens.
Mike, as always, man, really appreciate the time. Thanks a lot, and we'll catch up next week.
You got it. Take care next week.
There you go. That is Mike Tanier from The Messenger. I'm just taking a look at Coolbet because he brought up some of the odds. Here are your current Super Bowl odds over at Coolbet. We'll probably dive into this a little bit in Lock Shop with Huss at 11 o'clock today. 49ers plus 215. Baltimore Ravens plus 335. The Buffalo Bills, 7-1, have the third best odds right now to win it all. The Dallas Cowboys at plus 850. The Kansas City Chiefs, 11-1. The Eagles, 18-1. The Dolphins, 20-1. The Detroit Lions, 22-1. 12-5. Should be 13-4. That game against the Cowboys, my God. People were lucky I was not in last week. I would have been losing my mind.
Your conference.
They got absolutely hosed. The Browns are 33-1. The Texans are 40-1. The Rams are 40-1. The Packers are 80-1. The Bucks are 80-1. And the Steelers are 100-1 right now to win the Super Bowl. Like I say, you can grab those over at Coolbet right now.
Jasmine says the scriptwriters killed it for the playoffs. Tyreek Hill back to face KC. Matt Stafford back to face Detroit. Packers to Dallas to face off against Mike McCarthy. Texans to Cleveland to face off against the team they got forced into trading Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Abound, yeah.
Now do the Steelers and Bills.
Well, and I'm looking at weather reports. Like we want to talk about KC. Like Buffalo's going to be hell on earth almost, or close as you can get.
Yeah, last night on the game, they were saying, like, depending on what it's looking like, Kansas City's going to be -10.
And I know
our -10.
The Bills and Buffalo going through tables, and it's no. The Steelers are that other team that traditionally, I mean, Mike Tomlin, that you can see it being a low score, single digits, and they just squeak one out. So that does worry me a bit in that, but. Yeah, this is a great wild card weekend. And again, just given the fact that the regular season had so many shutouts, so many lopsided type of results, truck on playoffs.
Okay, let me throw this at you as we continue this NFL conversation. Which dog is the most live here? Like, you've got Texans are 2.5-point underdog. The Dolphins are 3.5-point underdog. The Steelers are 9. I'm not talking about covering the spread. I'm talking about pulling off a win. The Packers are a 7.5-point underdog. The Rams are a field goal underdog as well. Those are the 5 games that are posted right now over at Coolbet. And then the other one obviously would be the Bucs will be the dog even at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. So who's the livest dog right now? The Bucs, the Rams, the Packers, the Texans, the Dolphins, or the Steelers?
The way the Chiefs have been playing. But I know the weather there, and it's
but the weather. But the Dolphins have a run game. The Dolphins can run the ball.
A-Chain.
I think Mostert will be back.
That whole pistol pitch thing that they were doing last night, that had the Bills. I mean, the Bills left some points on the board, but they were doing really well against that Bills team.
But still, for the Dolphins, who are a good weather team, to have to go into KC,
I know. That's
in horrible conditions and knock off Patty Mahomes, that might be tough. But that's one that kind of jumped off the page for me too.
Chiefs
they can
playing possum
run the ball in that spot too. I
like the Texans at home.
Texans at home against Joe Flacco.
Really well.
Flacco's been great.
Yeah.
Stafford and the Rams. He's got weapons, man. He's got weapons. I'm worried. I'm legitimately worried.
And the Lions haven't been here before in a long, long time, right? Like this is you've got.
But they're
to
at
the
home.
top in here.
They're awesome at home. Yeah. Still a little bit worried about that one. I would actually say the Rams are probably, if people were going through and picking, like, give us your answer to this right now. 780-218-9999. Which underdog has the best chance to come out and win their game? The Steelers, the Dolphins, the Texans, the Bucs, the Rams, or the Packers? I honestly think like the general public would probably say the Rams are the most live dog right now.
Like, I could see the Cowboys spoiling one at home. I really could, but I don't see the Packers kind of moving on to do anything else.
HR Daddy is dropping $5 on Pittsburgh right now to win the Super Bowl and biting his nails all week long. Oh, that'd be something. Filthy says the Rams have a shot at beating the Lions. Adam says the Rams. Big Maple Sports Card says the Rams and the Bucs. Man, how about the Bucs if they're... And they'll be at home. But pulling off an upset of the Eagles would be pretty...
What are the Philadelphia Eagles right now, hey?
I don't know what the Eagles are right now. It's a fair point. Fair point. All right, so I was saying earlier in the show today, I have a little bit of a lifestyle change. After coming back from Davos, Switzerland. I don't know, maybe one of you guys right now are already using this product. But when I went over to Switzerland... I brought like a carry-on deodorant, just a little one, and it ran out day one. So I was like, well, I have to go get some new deodorant.
Okay.
So I went to the Co-op Pronto. So it's like a corner store basically. And I went in quickly and I was getting some Lindor Lints and some Pringles. They got good Pringles over there. Great Pringles. I'm loading up a bunch of water and stuff. And I was like, oh, I better grab some deodorant. So I grabbed what I thought was deodorant. And it looked like a deodorant. It was a little bit bigger than our deodorant. I was like, oh, they must just sell really big deodorant over here. So then I get back to the hotel room and I go to put on some deodorant. I open up. It turns out it was just a little thing of 2-in-1 bath wash. It's just like a little tube of that. So I was like, damn it. So then I had to go back and get deodorant again. So I went back and this is my life change. I got a roll-on deodorant as opposed to, like the regular deodorant that you kind of swipe.
Yeah.
So I got this roll-on deodorant, and it rolls around your arm. It kind of tickles a little bit.
Like a ball in there.
Yeah, it's a ball in there, and you roll it around, and I loved it. I love this roll-on deodorant, man. So I'm becoming now. I had so much stuff I couldn't even pack it to bring it back. So now I have to go buy another. So now I'm back to my regular old deodorant. but I want to become roll-on deodorant guy. And I'm curious, like, you guys, are you roll-on deodorant guys?
Didn't have this on the bingo card.
Yeah, I know. Nobody did. I didn't think anybody would. But I don't know. It feels a lot nicer going on. And I will say this. I think it did the job better as well. I think it lasts longer. Trev, what type of deodorant do you use?
Yeah, just like regular Old Spice.
See, you guys, exactly. Like, it's time for us to up. I'll get it for all of you.
Roll-on deodorants are more hygienic to use because you're not exposed to as many germs when using a roll-on. I don't know how the science behind that, but
I agree.
They kind of look satisfying to use too.
Buddy,
I like the roundness.
Yeah, like a
of
massage.
them.
Well, think about it. It's round and it rolls around, so it really gets into your armpit. Whereas the other one, I mean, it's kind of at the top. It'll be curved a bit, but then once you use it a lot,
if it's dry.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, roll-on deodorant is the way to go. I'm going straight to Shoppers after this show, and I'm going to get myself some male roll-on deodorant.
It says London Drugs today. Buy it today. You can buy the day. Do you have a particular brand? Are you
I don't know.
brand
I got
there?
the only one that was available at the Co-op Pronto in Davos. But I guess I'd have to. But I don't think. Like, I don't know if Old Spice or what's the other one that you can spray, Axe or whatever. I don't know if that stuff comes in the roll-on format. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at an Axe roll-on deodorant right now. Axe
Are
Dry, anti-sweat. It looks like a roll-on, yeah. So that would be, I mean, that's the brand, right? Right there, you can get all the funky flavors.
Do you know what? No, I like Old Spice better.
Dark
Is there an
chocolate.
Old Spice roll-on?
Old Spice roll-on deodorant. That's
Type that in. Let's find out if there's an Old Spice roll-on because I love it. Greg says using the roll-on will stimulate pit hair growth. Get ready to use your razor way more. Yeah, but I don't shave my pits, so I don't. I mean, what am I all going to be like an Amazon person with all this armpit
Seeing
hair?
a roll-on here, you might have to do a bit more research on that one, but
I'll have to look into it. It was funny because the first day I got back, I got home at like 10 or 11, so the kids didn't see me. So in the morning, they came into the bed and they were having a little cuddle with me and Elizabeth. It's funny that the person mentioned the armpit hair because the first thing Elizabeth does, she lays down on me. She goes, "Oh, Daddy, I missed you." And then I wasn't wearing a shirt in bed and I had my arm up. And she goes, "Oh, you still have your armpit hair, hey?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I do. What do you think I was going to lose my armpit hair when I went to Switzerland? What are you talking
that's
about?"
what you do in Europe. You shave it all off, eh?
Silly little girl.
You can get a spray for them, too, hey?
I don't want spray. I don't want spray.
Rock with that.
And I'm done. I've been using the same deodorant for how many years now? When do you start using deodorant? When you're 12, 13? Once you start to be a little stinky, right? So I've been using deodorant for 30 years. This is a significant change, boys. But I loved it. I was looking forward to putting on my deodorant in the morning. It was great. So,
well, you know what, Dusty? I'd say roll on.
It looks like Dusty's going to roll on with this decision.
Seeing the Dove, the Nivea, if you will.
Oh, Nivea.
Those are.
I think I might have had Nivea.
Those are brand names.
I think I might have had Nivea. Is it a blue? I think it's a
too.
blue roll on there.
Multiple flavors.
Yep. So that's what I took away from the Spangler this year, boys.
Spring mist.
Now I've added tea, a scarf, and roll-on deodorant to my repertoire during my time in Switzerland.
Was it an unscented, or was it like was it the smell too that kind of got you?
No, it was pretty basic. Basic scent. I wouldn't mind scenting it up a little bit.
Right on. Yeah, you're right.
So
now you're back on the continent.
Yeah. Anyway, let me know if you want to try it, boys. Trev, I'll bring one in for you.
Yeah, I'd like to dabble with
Okay,
that.
yeah,
I think
I'll get you
Why
one.
not, eh?
You want to roll on? I'll get you a roll on. We'll do that too. All right.
So Oily Sink Mitchum makes a decent roll-on deodorant available at Shoppers.
All right. So look, other people are on this too.
Somebody
I like
says
it.
spray deodorant is the king. So you've been challenged there.
Well, let's get to roll on. Let's start with the roll on.
Yeah.
All right. I still like that contact as opposed to the spray.
It's a massage to your lymph nodes, hey?
The roll on deodorant goes on way too wet. Give me the stick. Harry Manback says the spray is where it's at. I can't believe somebody texts into the handle with Harry Manback, but I like it.
Give me the stick.
Give me the spray is where it's at. Give me the stick. Dusty, how did you not have enough room to pack deodorant? Well, it was like I have just a small little bathroom bag, right? So I always have just the carry-on size things. And this was a full-size roll-on. It just didn't fit in my little clear bag that you take out, right, with your liquids in it.
Prior to the Spangler, were you like a gel guy or were you a stick guy?
I'm a stick guy.
Through and through.
Stick
12
guy.
months of the year.
Regular Crest toothpaste.
Because I used the stick during the summer, and I used the gel during the winter months when it gets a little more dry.
Really?
Switch it up a bit.
What? And you can do that, eh? Your armpits don't have a weird reaction or anything.
6 months for the stick, 6 months for the gel. But I'll have to try. Maybe I can fix in the roll-on here too. Maybe a month here. Maybe
you want roll-on?
Spring and fall. Yeah.
Somebody suggested EST merch. Where's the hive? Where's the hive? Promotioning products that make a difference. Create the buzz.
Wouldn't that be something? Your face on the roll-on, hey? Like,
I'd love to become Canada's roll-on deodorant guy.
Yeah.
Across
do the commercial,
country.
you applying it and all that.
When I call CFL games, I use Nivea for Men roll-on deodorant.
White shirt, yeah.
That'd be great. So anyway.
Sure.
All right. Pat in the county says, I like flavor over scent.
Yeah, I keep saying the flavor. It's just, I don't know.
That's I didn't know you switched it up summer to winter.
Well, it gets dry in
cool.
the winter months, so that stick sometimes gets
try
cold,
that
and you're pulling up the hair.
What is it? You're licking, like, is it minus 30 out and your tongue's getting stuck on it? Like,
No. It's just then in the summertime when it's a lot warmer and you're kind of more perspiring a little more, that stick goes on a little more easy. Just for me, but.
All right. What say you? Hit us up, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Martin is in it, says, wait until Dusty finds out shampoo and conditioner can come in separate bottles.
Well, when you said the 2-in-1, that's where I thought you were going here.
Boys, sometimes I roll 3-in-1. It's the best. Is that the shampoo, the soap, everything, conditioner? It's the best. The 3-in-1. I don't know if that's Axe or Old Spice. I think it's the Old Spice that does the 3-in-1. And I tell you, man, it's a time saver. It's a time saver.
Atif checking in. Hey, boys, I roll on everywhere.
That's the guy in the chair.
Yeah, guy in the chair.
God, man, I love when Atif makes jokes. That's Atif, well done, sir. That could be text of the day there.
He's hitting it.
Let me save that one. Atif, God, dude.
Son of a gun.
Brilliant. I'm putting that in the mix for text of the day right there. That's that's too funny. All right. 780-218-9999. We got 3 questions too many. Kind of easy trivia. We have a new sponsor on board here in the new year. They're going to have a sports update. We'll talk about Claiborne Services here a little bit when we come back just after 8 o'clock because they're looking for you. We'll get into that a little bit. We do need somebody to play kind of easy trivia right now, though. For Mr. Mike's. Took the family to Mr. Mike's on Saturday, actually.
Okay.
We went and saw the Bluey play at the Jube.
Oh, that's a night.
Oh, it was great. And then we went out for Mr. Mike's after.
Pickle in, pickle out?
Pickle on top, gave it to Marshall.
Okay, yeah.
Marshall loves the pickle.
That's the play.
So he was pretty excited about that. I said, anybody want my pickle? And he's, I'll have it, Daddy. I was like, here you go, son. You can have my pickle. Oh, he was very, I held it up like it's a sardine.
Come get
it. Come get it, Marshall. I made him clap like a seal. I gave it to him. Got that pickle. All right, what were we doing? Yeah, so if you want to play kind of easy trivia, text in right now, 780-218-9999. Why not start the year? I guess it's the first show for us. Start your year with us, with Eric and I, by winning a gift certificate to Mr. Mike's. Just text in 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Let Trev know that you want to play kind of easy trivia today, and we will get in on that as well. Hey, boys, I roll on everywhere. Atif, you're killing me, man. I'm in stitches, Atif. If you have any questions for 3 questions too many, fire those into the nasty chat right now as well. We'll get to those. But if you want to play trivia, 780-218-9999. Let's get to a sports update with LTE.
All right, some NFL news this morning. The Washington Commanders firing head coach Ron Rivera. The Falcons moving on from Arthur Smith yesterday after 3 seasons at the helm. Carolina Panthers as well this morning dismissing GM Scott Fitterer. The Bills last night wrapping up their 4th straight AFC East title. They downed the Dolphins 21-14 from Miami. Bills will now host the Steelers on Wild Card Weekend Sunday. The Dolphins travel to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs Saturday night. Oilers kick off a 3-game East Coast swing tomorrow in Chicago. They look to stretch their win streak to 8 following Saturday's win over Ottawa. Action from yesterday saw the Hawks defeat the Flames 4-3, Jets over Arizona 6-2. The Kings have dropped 5 in a row. They fall to the Caps 4-3 in Detroit, edging up the Ducks 3-2. 4 games around the NHL tonight. Edmonton Oil Kings falling to the Hitmen 5-1 yesterday. Edmonton will host Tri-City on Thursday. PWHL action tonight. Boston will host Ottawa in the lone game. AJHL saw Calgary blank Lloyd 3-0. Blackfalds hammering Grand Prairie 7-3. And Okotoks, they'd shut out Drayton Valley 6-0. Action will resume in the AJ tomorrow night with 3 games. RJ Barrett with a season-high 37. Raps bounce the Warriors 133-118, while the Lakers take the Battle of LA 106-103 over the Clippers. College football's national championship tonight from NRG Stadium in Houston. Number 1 Michigan and number 2 Washington, both schools undefeated. Kickoff at 5:30. This sports update brought to you by Claiborne Services. They are hiring now, looking for journeyman bricklayers and all levels of apprentices. Start a new career or take your current one to the next level with their well-established mentorship program. Visit www.claiborneservices.com for more.
The Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
All right, the Nielsen Show continues. 8:06 on a Monday morning. Weather-wise, she's a cold one, but it's only going to get colder. Minus 19 right now. Warming up today to about minus 9 by this afternoon. Snow going to start to fall on tomorrow morning, Tuesday and Wednesday. We're looking at some flurries, and then we're looking at, you know what they like to say, the deep freeze.
Yeah.
We're going to hit that deep freeze a little bit later on in the week with highs of minus 24, minus 29, minus 27, minus 23.
Winter is
That's
here.
a tough one.
Yeah.
That is a tough one. Hey, I want to talk about Claiborne Services for a second. They're going to be doing these 8 o'clock sports update with us, and then you know what else Claiborne is doing? They are sponsoring the return of, wait for it, this Thursday, for the first time in 6 months, since we were blown out at the old place, and the first time here at Edmonton Sports Talk and the Nielsen Show, the return of Scalding Hot Takes. How exciting is this? This is going to be really good. Looking forward to it. Claiborne Services hopping on board with us here. They are looking for employees. I didn't even know bricklaying was a thing until I sat down with these guys. Like, we're looking at bricklayers. I was like, wow.
You don't know?
Bricklaying.
Everybody knows a brick. Everybody's like an arm's length away from a bricklayer.
Well,
though.
then if you're a bricklayer, they're looking for you.
Get on it.
They've got this big, huge job coming up. They're looking for people from like April to July. You go make a ton of money and then chill for the summer. It's a great setup. Super safe company. You know, all the levels of safety. Claiborne's got it taken care of. One of the safest in the business, which I think is important for a lot of you, especially family folks. But yeah, they are looking for journeyman bricklayers. They're looking for all levels of apprentices as well. A nozzle person. I don't even know what that means, but they're looking for nozzle people. And then API certified quality control, which sounds awesome too. So yeah, visit them, claiborneservices.com. And
looking for journeyman bricklayers in all level of apprentices.
All levels of apprentices.
All level.
Lower level apprentices, higher end apprentices. They are looking for you. So
ClaiborneServices.com.
Yeah, go to ClaiborneServices.com and take a look at the jobs. When I sat down with them, they're like, look, we pay extremely well. We're just looking for people. They'll train you. They'll get you right. Trev, don't you dare leave. I can see Trev's eyes right now. He's like, oh,
gears are switching
wait a second.
here.
Did you say a lot of
No.
money and I can get a trade? Like,
No, I like
great.
it here.
Anyway, how huge is it for Claiborne to be the company that brings back Scalding Hot Takes?
Hell of a segment. It'll be remembered for eternity.
Legendary.
They're the ones, yeah.
Legendary return. Yeah, and bricklaying sounds fun. It just sounds like a fun thing to do.
Well, and you could use
just lay in the bricks.
Hot Take Smith to incorporate laying the bricks, right?
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
As for Scalding Hot Takes and the execution of this bad boy, we always have kind of a 3-man rotation on Scalding Hot Takes. We got 2 right here. Trevor, we were talking about, I mean, by default, kind of. But
Stepping
do you
in.
think you can bring the 5 takes every week?
Of course.
You know how Hot Takes works?
Yeah.
Okay,
The
all right.
first day you brought me into the studio at
were we doing Hot
12:50.
Takes that
yeah,
day?
you did it.
Get
And,
outta here.
I was like, oh, okay, that seems pretty cool. I liked it. It was funny. So, yeah, I'd definitely like to partake.
Okay. All right.
And
So
just
that,
judging.
well, we'll have to figure out the judge.
yeah.
If you have any suggestions on how we judge this thing, hit us up, 780-218-9999. I wouldn't mind a permanent judge.
It's dawning of a new day. This is like college football going away from the bowl championship series into the college football playoff. Like, it's a little something different.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, same sport. Well, we can switch.
You know,
up a
if
bit.
we do it, so actually, one of the things I was thinking is like whoever is in on the hangout on Thursdays comes in about 15 minutes early and judges Scalding Hot Takes.
I don't mind that.
Now, Gager's in most Thursdays, so if Gager just wants to become the permanent judge of Scalding Hot Takes, I'd be totally fine with that too.
Judged in the past?
No,
Like
he's never
moonlit?
judged.
No.
I think he's been involved in it.
Oh, yeah,
maybe. But
Interesting.
I mean, Gager could be the judge if he's going to be in most Thursdays, and if he's not, we can quickly get him on the phone, and he can. It'd be interesting because people usually hate the judge, but people love Gager, so a chance to buck the trend. Anyway, Gager, let us know. Well, I guess we'll have to reach out here at some point too. But huge shout out to Claiborne Services. Visit them. I mean, if you're looking for work, or you want an upgrade, or you want to get into the trades, maybe you're a young guy looking to get into trades. Go visit Claiborne. Like, they're great people. I think I've met 4 of them over there. And
They are actually
great people.
coming in. My son works for Claiborne. This text flies. I'm not even lying. He's a refractory bricklayer. It's hard work. And then Kyle the Embalmer chimes in. So you're looking for a judge, eh?
Makes the bag.
You work hard and you make the bag.
Makes the bag.
Kyle the Embalmer chimes in for the judge. Maybe a disgraced commish would like to kind of jump into a different role here as he's looking for work as well, eh?
There's zero chance Owanek becomes the judge of Scalding Hot Takes.
Because of no appointment, or he won't
Oh,
accept?
he bailed on Hot Takes when he lost to Chichkowski and had a big rant about
yeah,
it. Don't
that's
you
right, too.
remember? So yeah, ClaiborneServices.com. Huge shout out to them. They're bringing back Scalding Hot Takes. That'll be on Thursday around 8:40, and I cannot wait to bring some takes, buddy. The Mitts sitting over there waiting. They're ready to go. That's exciting. All right. We've got Rishaug coming up with the Monday Morning Got Your Back mandate. We're going to talk, obviously, we're going to talk Oilers. Things clicking very well for that club right now. And we are going to discuss
the national championship.
Edmonton Elks. And we'll get Rishaug's pick.
gotta do a
Washington
pick.
or Michigan.
Just make a pick.
Just make a pick. One way or the other. All right, who's playing kind of easy trivia today? Who do we got?
Today we have Brandon.
Brandon is going to play today. Trying to get his hands on a gift certificate to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual. The casualest place ever in the Hampton Inn on the corner of 137th Ave and Mark Messier Trail. Sirloin bites to die for. Had some sirloin bites on Saturday
Part
night.
of your
at
Bluey
Mr. Mike's.
pregame,
Yeah, postgame. Bluey
Postgame.
postgame. And the show was at 3:30. It's a show for kids. I mean, we were done by like 4:15. It was perfect. We were having dinner
bar
by
and
5. It
everything,
was
yeah.
awesome. But we have this. My wife loves the sirloin bites, and you know who else loves the sirloin bites? Marshall Bokeith Nielsen. Yeah. He's like, it's like a meatball, which I guess.
Pretty
I mean,
much.
if you want to do that. Also, at the Mr. Mike's on 137th Ave and Mark Messier Trail, you know what you can get there? 6 o'clock lager on tap. Pop into Mr. Mike's, saddle on up to the bar, and get yourself a 6 o'clock lager at lunch today. Why not? That's very cool. We're also trying to get it on tap for the Super Bowl party. They're in discussions right now to get it on tap at the Super Bowl
Just have
party.
a keg out in the parking lot, maybe.
Yeah, at Century Casino. Our Super Bowl party is going to be fun.
They're going down at Potts, eh? Out in Fort- like, they can't
Potsy's
keep
already
up.
gone through a keg. People are loving it. It's because it's just a delicious beer. I mean, once you have one, you're going to want to have 11 more. All right, so Brandon's playing today. All right, let me bring up trivia. I'm trying to get back in the groove here. All right, Brandon, you ready to go, man?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Now, here we go. You need to get 3 out of 5 correct. I'll start the
sounds
ticker
good.
after I read the first question. Good luck, man. Here we go. Who did the Edmonton Oilers beat on Saturday?
Oh, who did they play? I just know Hyman had a hat trick.
All right, question number 2. Which Oiler had a hat trick?
Zach Hyman.
What position does Josh Allen play?
QB?
Who's the quarterback of the Dolphins?
Ooh.
How many NBA teams call Los Angeles home? Man.
Not quite good enough.
Not quite good enough. All right, man. Well, have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Ow! How the hell did that happen? How did that happen? Our first show together. The second loss in Edmonton sports talk history.
Should have just called a false start and the stumbling out of the bricks.
I tried to help him. I tried to move it along.
That was, I mean, I understand sometimes you get to the middle and you get confused, and the end of it was the first.
Brandon, dude.
Wasting time on the.
Oh, my God. You're killing us. Holy smokes. Who did the Oilers beat on Saturday? Who did they play? I do know Hyman had a hat trick.
I didn't care
So then question number 2 was which Oiler had a hat trick? I moved him along. So he got that one right. What position does Josh Allen play? He said quarterback. And I said, who is the QB of the Dolphins? I didn't hear an answer there. And I could see that the ticker was going to run out. So I moved ahead quickly to how many NBA teams call Los Angeles home. And he didn't get it ready in time.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's 2? That number 2, right?
That's 2.
Second.
That's 2.
Yeah, Iwanek is.
Yeah, even Iwanek's chirping this guy. My God.
Wow, you've made it win.
Maddie's driving in right now, and he texted in, wow. Just wow. Yeah. Wow, indeed.
From one-armed Iwanek as well.
Man.
He's not texting, he's not throwing away these texts. That was,
Yeah, wait a second.
kind of speechless.
How's he texting in if he's driving? He's only got one arm.
That performance generates a text from one-armed Iwanek. You know it's bad.
You know when you were doing that sports update there at 8 o'clock, I ran over and filled up the water just from the tap.
Yeah.
I didn't know we could have hot water, warm water over there. I thought it just came out of the tap cold. Feel this. Feel how warm this is.
Why are you drinking? Why?
Well, I said I wanted more water.
You want
but
warm
I was also
water?
in a hurry. No, I wanted cold water.
And you
but it came out kind of warm.
Let the cold tap run. Hey, well, that's not bad for the throat.
This is lukewarm.
You're not
water,
supposed to drink the ice cold first thing in the morning. That's actually good.
Is that a thing?
I think so.
No, hey,
not such a shock to the system. Ask Jeff Crushell next time he's in. I'm sure
Crusher would tell us.
Elaborate on that. Yeah.
Crusher would tell us for sure. All right, so Brandon, major buzzkill. That really sucked.
What a loser.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's move along. Let's get into 3 questions too many for Park Mazda. Lieutenant Eric, do you have a liner for the segment today?
3 questions too many brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda, including dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, who they like to welcome in their newest sales associate, Ron Rivera. Park Mazda, your dealer for life. I'd buy a fleet of vehicles.
I think you'd like to buy a vehicle or two from Ron Rivera.
Deal with him. Yeah. Bring him in even as a third party, your salesperson and the buyer, but you just have Ron Rivera come in and kind of bridge the gap. As Mike Tanier said, I mean, defensive whiz. He's great coach in that regard, but probably the last of being a head coach. And then good. I don't need to see him suffer anymore.
I still can't believe Brandon blew it.
It's terrible.
Man,
it's going to hang over the rest of the show. The final
does.
hour,
like a real fun show. We got
drape.
Farhan and Rishaug coming up. A real fun show.
Maybe quiz both
and
of
then
them.
We got a new sponsor, Claiborne. Like it's just.
Well, that's just it too. Is
man.
the sponsoring of
That's a tough look right there. Tough look. Oh, by the way, I got my truck at Park Mazda, I just ordered last week a back for it, like to put on the top of the box. What do they call it?
A cover.
A cover.
Oh, okay.
Box cover. It's going to get installed this week.
And you just zip.
Then it's a folding one. Boom, 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 and then you can just put stuff in, and then you fold it back up, lock it up, and everything's safe.
Catch a snooze in there.
I could catch a snooze
when
in
the
there.
temperatures agree.
You know what?
Why
Back
not?
when the kids were really young, I would have slept in the back of my truck in the summer. 100%. I might do it again this summer. I mean, never even thought about that. Do you have a Twitter account?
Yes, I do. It's at Lieutenant_Eric. You can follow me on Twitter as well as Edmonton Sports Talk. Give us a follow as well. Keep up to date with everything going on at YEG Sports Talk. That's YEG Sports Talk. And you can follow us on Instagram as well, Edmonton Sports Talk. It's all over the place.
So much going on there. Hey, let's hammer this thumbs up button, by the way. Let's go. Amishman19 says 400 people watching, only 180 likes. Let's go. With that being said, we're almost at 200 already. We're crushing that. Let's go. Yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, question number 1. If you guys could change one sporting result from over the holidays, what would it be? Oh, man, you had a pretty good holiday run with your teams, though, so that's tough.
Liverpool were cooking. The Bills are division champs this morning. I didn't really expect that heading into everything.
I mean, I would definitely change the Lions' finish against the Dallas Cowboys on that bogus officiating.
That was...
And I would also change Canada blowing it against Pardubice in the semifinal to Spengler, because then we would have got a Canada-Davos final, which is what everybody's always wanted.
Well, let's just go to the World Juniors then. I mean, and you could say that maybe the Canadian team wasn't their year and they weren't picked, but the way that ended with the deflection late on, I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow. And of course, as you do in this country, people were out with the pitchforks and torches ready to eviscerate them.
Yeah, but I don't understand how you can be so fired up about a team that wasn't projected to win it anyway.
Because we get so fired up prior to that.
Yeah, like if Canada was the United States had a stacked roster.
Yeah.
if that roster didn't make it out of the now, with that being said, it's out of the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
If they lose in the semifinal to Sweden or the
Palatable,
United States, maybe that's a tougher pill to swallow.
The way it happened was frustrating. I get it, but we get so worked up with this tournament now that's you have to go perfect, or else it's a total failure. You might as well call them Brandon.
Canadian World Junior Team had a bunch of Brandons on them.
Brandons.
Oh, man. Question number 2. What do the Oilers have to do to become Stanley Cup favorites again, boys? Oh, boy. They were Stanley Cup favorites at the beginning of the year.
Who's to say they aren't?
Whoa. Hey, Scalding Hot Takes doesn't return until Thursday, my man.
You see power rankings all the time around. And look, if you're just going to do power rankings based on standings, I mean, that's just standings. Power rankings are how you're doing right now, and they're killing it. Again, we say it's a little streaky, but they've been having better streaks than bad streaks right now. And when you're looking around the league, I mean, yeah, they're coming. Like they are like, be on alert. I know Seattle's been putting together some wins. They're on a little nifty streak as well. But we talked about this prior to the break of these wild card teams. I mean, you got to think that the Oilers are better than most, if not all. Then you look even higher, and the Kings have been faltering a bit. I don't know. Who's to say they aren't right now? I don't care where you are in the standings, but the way they're playing, sure.
Yeah, they've been the best team in the league for the last month and a half. Mm-hmm. Is it crazy to say that they should be viewed that way? I mean, we'll get into it with Rishaug when he joins us in like 2-3 minutes. But I don't know. Where do you come out on this? Hit us up. Nasty Chatter at 780-218-9999. Now, I know they're just in a wild card spot right now, but they've been playing like at over a 700 clip. Mm-hmm. So I would say nobody in the West would want to play them right now.
Nope.
So maybe that's how they should be. Maybe that's how they should be viewed. And question number 3. This one just came in at 780-218-9999. Also, just a quick shout out. I just saw this come up in the inbox too. Can we get Brandon's Twitter account just to make sure we don't follow him? Brandon's taking it hard today. Yeah,
as he should. As he should. I'm sure he'd agree as well.
That's a good one. No, where is it here? Okay, here we are. Boys, in honor of Claiborne and Bricklayers getting on board with you guys, what trade would you guys think you'd be best at? Like plumber, electrician. I would definitely electrocute myself, so I'm not going to say an electrician.
My buddy runs his own bricklaying company, and that's tough. It's tough work. Like that is bad, back-breaking. Like some of the older guys in that trade, like they are weathered and worn.
It out, right?
But good money. Great money. I always carpentry always kind of intrigued me. Like, the smell of the wood. The
smell of the wood.
The wood
is
shavings.
Nice.
You're kind of, the lathe
you
and all
make
those
cabinets.
machinery. Yeah. And everybody, like, you can make little trinkets for people. You can do the big stuff. You can redesign your house if you want, but then you can make
carpentry
little
would be fun.
Carpentry would be fun. Jesus did it.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those historical things.
He probably whittled.
A lot of whittling. That's another thing. Whittling, the whole electrician. Like I have lots of respect for electricians, but the whole power thing creeps me out.
I think once you figure out like running power lines in a house or whatever you call it, I like it would just be like a rinse and repeat. You probably get pretty good at it.
Jumping
with
a car battery
is
tough
twist
enough.
thing.
No, but I
connect the two things.
I'm always like red. It's like diffusing a bomb. I'd always get too you do this, and then plumbing. Of course, we know a lot of like Trevor Savage, the plumber.
Well, I mean, I'm technically a plumber. Remember, I fixed my toilet with nothing more than a space heater.
Pretty much. So, apprentice maybe plumber. Right?
I'm a year 2 plumbing apprentice.
It's a dirty job. Somebody's got to do it. And again, I respect everybody who does the trades, but I think carpentry would be the answer here for me personally.
What other trades are we missing here? Like, there's got to be a lot more trades.
We hit the big 3 or 4.
Scaffolding.
There's the other.
Do you guys say welding? What was it welding?
Oh, welding.
That's a good
welding.
one.
Yeah. I couldn't do a welding.
Very tough.
I'd be very scared of the welding.
Did you ever do that in industrial arts?
No.
I did the Crescent Moon.
We had woodwork. We had woodwork and metalwork.
Yeah.
Were our 2 classes, and I made like little bookends in metalwork, and they sucked. Both of them sucked.
Somebody says insulator.
Insulator. So you just put the pink stuff in the walls? That's it? That's a whole trade. Huh. I do think carpentry would be fun, but I would need a lot of extra wood.
When you keep
because I would be screwing it up. So a little pencil up here.
Like, pencils everywhere.
I see a lot of tricks for carpentry on TikTok. Yeah. Where it's like, actually, if you just cut the wood here and turn it this way, it's like, how do they do that? That's pretty good. The bricklaying sounds interesting because I'm very fascinated by the paste, whatever that is. What's the paste that you use to keep the bricks in place, right?
Cement. Or
Is that all it is?
I don't know.
Nah.
You kind of, but it's very repetitive, but you got to get that even. You got to get that all, like, you can't.
If I made a brick path, it'd be horrible.
HVAC technician.
Ooh, HVAC.
Licensed practical nurse. Hairstylist. Mechanic. Mechanic would be.
I would love to be a mechanic.
You'd
Like
save
that
you a
would
lot of
probably
money,
be the
right?
handiest
Like-
of the handiest of the trades.
Yeah. Iron worker.
Ooh, a blacksmith. Tube Sock says blacksmith, just like Doc Brown in Back to the Future 3. All right, he was
Pipe
a scientist, but
pipe fitter.
Yeah. So what exactly does a pipe fitter do? It can't just be
Fit
fitting
pipes?
pipes together, can it? Like, is that all the pipe fitter does? Is they just put pipes together?
I've always wanted this one too. Elevator mechanic or one of those the escalator guys that come in. Like that's
would
a
be a
specific
cool
trade.
job.
But if something happens, you're the guy. Like nobody else knows how to do that stuff. It's
Yeah, the elevators trades are a career that could really be trending up.
of course surveyor Brett says, "Come survey, fellas." That's
Yeah.
Those guys
I don't
stand
even know
around.
what
at
those
the-
guys do. They just stand around,
look
with
through
a
a
little
little.
camera and look at things and go, "Ooh, it looks like you could build it here."
But whenever you see them, you know something's up. Like something's
know.
going to happen.
I know.
Like you're like, what are
What's
they doing
going on
over there?
here? Pipe fitter is a welder's helper. What?
A painter.
Huh.
You get the fumes.
Lots of good trades. Yeah, that's fun. All right, let's keep moving along here. You can text us anytime. We got Farhan Lalj coming up here in about 15 minutes to dive into McLeod Bethel Thompson. We're going to get into that with Shaggy as well. And then Farhan, I'll give us a prediction for Washington and Michigan tonight. I wonder if Shaggy has his college national final prediction ready for us. Let's bring him in.
Didn't get a party invite
Wait.
yet.
I got to get the music.
Yeah.
The first day back here. Got you back. Here we go. Got your back Monday morning mandate.
Timberlake rocks.
Is that a mandate of yours?
God, what are we talking about here? Good question. Can some of it be about sport? Yeah. All he needs to do is just get in front of people and state his case. If they had the mandate from the people, blah, 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 I don't know where that information came from, but I would question it.
Time for the morning mandate with Ryan Rishaug.
This is what sports broadcasting is all about.
You know what? That may be a good point, Ryan. You broke the story, Ryan.
Rishaug is one giant 6'2" pile of Charmin.
It is the Monday morning Got Your Back mandate, GYBpod.com/YEG with Shaggy and Strutty and Rob Brown. Shaggy, how you doing, my man?
Hey, Ryan.
Welcome back, buddy. I missed you
thanks.
guys.
Oh, man, we missed you too. How was the holidays?
It was good.
Yeah?
We had a blast, man. It was good.
Lots of
Everybody
family
was
time?
good. Lots of family time. It was fantastic. As much as I missed you guys, though, that last 5 minutes that I was forced to sit through, that was something. Now, I am not exactly, Mike Holmes.
Yeah.
But Dusty, it might be my favorite thing I've ever heard you say on this show when naming off the different traits out there. Scaffolding. That's got to be a trade, right?
Yeah.
Scaffolding.
Yeah. Right, it is.
I don't know how to set it up.
Scaffolding.
You set up
Like
the scaffolding.
Right? Just people set up scaffolding.
But isn't it like, aren't trades like, I mean, the welders and the carpenters and the roofers and just scaffolding? Is that just a trade?
That's a trade. That's big business. Like, I got a buddy who
do that, but
Yeah,
it's
but
not a
that's-
trade, is it?
Oh, 100%.
Again, it's a specific. We couldn't.
Somebody can confirm this for me. But I would. Let
I
me
don't
text
know
my
that
buddy
you
Mikey
become a
here.
scaffolding apprentice. Can we agree
I
that
think
in
you
order
do.
for it to be a trade, you have to be able to apprentice for it? This might backfire horribly on me. If I'm wrong about this, because I came in hot on that.
Yeah, I was going to
This
say,
might be
I thought
terrible.
I said it incorrectly or something. I didn't think you were
No.
questioning the entire.
It is a trade.
It is a trade, I think.
All right. Isn't it just a job? Is it just a thing people do?
No. I think you can apprentice in it.
Is there a course for it at Nate's that you can get an apprenticeship for? Oh boy, Tube Sock says scaffolding is a trade. This is trouble for me.
Yeah, no, Filthies it
Oh,
says
boy.
Rishaug about to get canceled by the scaffolding unit.
You made your bed now.
Wow. Well, this backfired big time, Shaggy.
God. Hey, let me tell you about Washington and Michigan.
Yes.
I really think that Michigan's going to win, guys, but I tell you, Washington is poised for a 2 to 5 year run, kind of like Clemson or Michigan, if you recall. So I'm going to go with Michigan here, but boy, look out for Washington. Let's talk some oil.
Man, okay, my buddy who works in scaffolding, well, he sells scaffolding now. He goes, yes, it's actually classified as carpentry.
Okay.
Interesting.
Sure.
Interesting.
It's a sub-trade of another trade.
It's not a red seal trade, as somebody says.
I think we can all just agree that nobody's really, truly wrong here.
Yeah, okay. Let's just say we all meet in the middle on this one. Yeah. With that being said, if you ever need anything scaffolded, I don't like your chances. I don't like your chances of getting that.
Not room for sponsorship on Got Your Back if there's any scaffolders out there that are.
I don't like your chances on that one. All right, Shaggy, let's dive into. You said let's talk about the Edmonton Oilers. So let's talk about them. Sure. Man, when I left, I flew out on December 23rd. And Ryan McLeod was still an issue. Couldn't produce anything. I come back, he's riding shotgun with Draisaitl, and he's on fire. What's happened over this most recent 7-game winning streak?
Yeah, I mean, listen, on McLeod, he got moved over to the wing, and that makes a huge difference, right? When you got less to think about. By the way, playing with Leon Draisaitl probably helps, I'm thinking, when it comes to being able to produce a little bit more. So good on McLeod, though. He's turned his game around. He's competing more. He and Warren Foegele are a nice little duo there on the wings with Draisaitl down the middle, so that's been good. Goaltending continues to be really good. Their penalty kill is one of the more underrated stories of this turnaround. Just the job that Mark Stewart has done. They killed off that 4 minutes the other night like it was nothing. And the way they've empowered all different parts of their lineup by doing this with the penalty kill. Like, think about that. And Struds made this point the other night. Mark Stewart takes over the penalty kill, and he's like, okay, first thing we're going to do, no more McDavid and Draisaitl. I mean, but that's what they've done. And they've got guys consistently killing together. They're becoming excellent at it. So, yeah, lots of really good characteristics and traits in their game, and they're rocking and rolling, man. An 8-game heater and then a 7-game heater for this head coach.
Goaltending too, Ryan, prior to Dustin and I breaking for Christmas was kind of a discussion, maybe odd and often days. Your thoughts on that during the break too? Skinner's been good with a capital G, I think, as of late.
Yeah, for sure. He has been. And, you think of the pressure that Stuart Skinner is under compared to like your average NHLer, right? He's a starting goaltender in a Canadian city. And by the way, it's his hometown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you kind of stack those three things up and then you stack together the start they had and the pressure that was on him, pretty impressive. But Skinner's the guy he's so zen, he's so chill. And we've been talking to him through this entire process, and he's maintained a pretty even keel. He's the right person to take on this challenge. And I think, I don't know, guys, did him becoming the clear-cut number one by moving Jack Campbell out, not that Skinner would ever wish for that, but I just wonder if it being so clear that it was him and him every night, maybe if that didn't shift his headspace a little bit and put him into a different, thought process.
That's an interesting point, and I don't know if we'd really ever get the answer to that because, like, his numbers were worse than Campbell's when Campbell got sent down, right? Like, he hadn't been playing very well at all either. So, yeah, I mean, maybe the coaching change is the biggest thing that happened because they stopped hemorrhaging all those chances against off the rush. I think that probably made a big difference with Skinner as well. So I want to quickly go back to McLeod, Foegele, and Draisaitl. Like,
sure,
you obviously can't touch it now, but like when they get to the playoffs and if they go on a run, is that line a driving force behind it, or is this something that you roll for a bit in the middle of the season and then you get Evander Kane back up there at some point?
Yeah, I think you just nailed it right there. I don't know that there's longevity to this McLeod, Foegele, top six, Draisaitl down the middle. I mean, they haven't done this before. Credit to the new coach for finding this combination.
Yeah, for
hadn't
sure.
really been found before, so good on him. But does it have longevity? It doesn't really feel like it. If it does, the Oilers need a third-line center.
Yeah, to play with Kane.
And I might suggest to you that if it goes really well, even for the next few weeks or month or whatever, the need that the Oilers have, like I would say to you right now, based on their lineup configuration, they need a third-line center, right? If Ryan McLeod's going to play there. But it'd be, finding a top six right winger is also got to be on that list. And I just wonder, if you want the option to play McLeod either on the wing or down the middle, then you need a third line center. If they see enough out of Ryan McLeod on the wing that they think that could be a viable option at playoff time, well, now you have no choice but to insulate yourself at third line center. So what I wonder is, the target if it's not a third line center with maybe a little bit more skill and could moonlight in the top 6. So that way you've got options of flipping McLeod back and forth. Because if you don't get a center, then it's going to be hard to play McLeod on the wing because, all due respect, Ryan and Hamblin is your 3-4. It's not going to get you where you want to go, I don't believe, at playoff time.
So how much wiggle room do you think they have within the roster? Like, you mentioned a couple of different wants and needs, I would describe them both as. But is it going to have to be you'll have to pick one, Shaggy, do you think?
Well, I mean, backup goaltender, is that on your list too, Dusty?
Well,
like,
in a perfect world, yes. Yeah,
and that's tough
I think
for
that's
Calvin
still
Pickard.
good.
Like he's come in and done what he's been asked to do. So no disrespect to him, but if you
if something happens to Skinner in the playoffs,
yeah.
I mean, you probably want somebody more stable between the pipes with more experience.
The one thing that I'm questioning, guys, from the beginning of the season, my belief has been the target will eventually would have been upgrading the blue line, right? But I don't know. I'm watching this team play right now, and with the way Darnell Nurse is playing, and Cody Ceci has been really good, and then these pairings are going to play together most of the year. Like, are you really just going to drop a brand new body in there and completely mess with these pairings just before your playoff run? Or are you okay if they go a little bit more depth-wise on the blue line, stay with what they've got, add another legit NHL defenseman for some depth, and make your improvements up front? My thought process has changed on that from the start of the year to now. When I see the way this blue line is changing, I'm going, maybe Nurse and Ceci will be okay in a big series. Certainly you're not going to mess with Ekholm and Bouchard. Vinny Desharnais' game there's been some great internal growth there. Look at his minutes recently. And Brett Kulak is always good in the playoffs for the Oilers.
Yeah, he's fine. You don't have to worry about him.
So I wonder if that D conversation has changed a little bit here.
Shaggy, let's flip over. The Edmonton Elks making some news this weekend, bringing in McLeod Bethel-Thompson. He was down south last year. They bring him back. Yeah. Trey Ford waited for an opportunity this year. They basically were forced to go to him because they started so poorly. He delivered some dubs. He's one of the most exciting players in the league to watch. And coming out of the season, people who remained optimistic about things were optimistic because of Trey Ford. Now they go out and give about $500,000.
Taylor Cornelius gone.
Yeah, Cornelius is gone. They give about $500,000 to McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Your thoughts on this switch at the quarterback position?
Yeah. Trey Ford is the Jesse Puljujarvi of the Edmonton Elks. Hot take.
Holy smokes, get this guy the mitt. Unbelievable.
Love it.
No, it's crazy, man. Like, so this guy that gave fans a reason to believe again. Elks fans,
I know.
There's been absolutely no reason to believe for years. It's been a train wreck. And then this beacon of light comes along who's exciting and entertaining, and there's buzz in the city and people are talking about him, and he's overcome a coach that's not great, and all this gives people a reason to go. And then you read that the other day and you're like, well, that's over.
I know.
Like, that's the end of that. I mean, I get it. You want, with all those receivers, you want maybe a pure passer in there. I get it. But man, you're finally getting fans to buy back in. They're going to have to win. I'll tell you that. They better win games early, because if they make this change and Trey Ford is on the outside and they're not winning games, and they took the one shiny object they had and sullied it with a bunch of dirt, this interesting, bold decision here from Chris Jones. I don't really get it, man. Roll with your franchise guy. Fans love him. Like, why not?
It'll be very interesting to see if they can handle this in the way that, Chad Kelly played behind McLeod Bethel-Thompson in Toronto, eventually took over as the number one, has had success. It'll take some buy-in from Trey Ford, but we were trying to put some spin on it here that maybe after a year, this could be the best thing that happened to Trey Ford. Is that trying to twist it too much?
He gets some snaps. He gets some play during the season.
Maybe you mix them in on some packages here or there, and then after a 1-year deal, you go, okay. Now, I don't think Chris Jones is a Trey Ford guy, despite using a first-round pick on him. So I'm not sure that's the way that it goes, but it could be something.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. If you're Trey Ford right now, what are you thinking? What's in your brain right now?
You're pretty disappointed right now.
If nothing else was discussed prior to this, as you said too. But
yeah, I mean, I guess you never know what discussions are had, but they put the ball in your hands. You were electric. Yes, you made some young mistakes. I don't know. I mean, if they can't live through some young mistakes with Trey Ford with an eye on what he could potentially be, because as his decision making improves and as he gets more experience, I mean, he's not a guy that's tailor-made for the NFL. So if he becomes an exceptionally good CFL quarterback, you probably got him for a long time if you want him. I just feel like I would have wanted them to have lived with the mistakes and let him grow a little bit more from the start of a fresh season, because there's something electric about that guy.
Yeah.
Well, as Dusty mentioned as well, and insulate with an O-line perhaps, or use that money to
some
spend
money on
there.
the offensive line and see where it goes from
Kelly
there.
in there too behind center. And
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, man. It's definitely a good conversation piece, that's for sure. When's the next Got Your Back dropping, Shaggy?
We dropped one this morning. Pierre LeBrun, Mike Johnson, and I on our Got Your Back NHL feed. That will drop as a bonus episode on our local one. And then Brownie and Struds and I are going to do one tonight. So I think we'll probably be live streaming sometime around 9 o'clock. So check out our YouTube page and all of our socials. But another Got Your Back coming up tonight.
Beauty. Have fun with it, man. We'll talk to you later.
You're right.
All right. Great to chat with you guys. Cheers.
There you go. That is Ryan Rishaug. Farhan Lalji's coming up as well.
Taking Michigan. As Rishaug
as he said, that's right. Trav, looks like Farhan's ready to roll in there, hey? All right, we're going to bring in Farhan and talk a little bit more about this. If you want to chime in, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Let's see here. Hampton Steve is in and says, don't worry, guys. Ford will be the starting quarterback again when they start 2-8 and Jones is finally fired. So people are pretty fired up about all of this. We'll see how it plays out. Let's bring in Farhan Lalj, who was all over this story over the weekend. And, we're going to obviously set up a little college football game, kind of a big one tonight. We'll get to that as well. Farhan, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. I thought usually when you start talking football, Rishaug jumps off.
I saw he's still sitting in the back room there.
Little screen, he's right there.
I think he was just sticking around to see if you said anything, which is fine. We talked. Well, obviously, when the Elks make the move that they made, we're going to talk some football. Actually, did Rishaug take Washington?
No, he took Michigan.
He took Michigan.
He's going against you, Farhan.
Yeah, he's going against you, Farhan. Sorry about that. But I
never did like that guy.
Yeah, well, I think he was reading off a screen anyway, so I don't know if it was actually his pick. But let's start with the CFL because we just had that conversation. So let's continue with it. How long has this been cooking here, Farhan? Like, this didn't just come out of nowhere, but your thoughts on it playing out the way it did?
Yeah, I think it's been cooking since Grey Cup, to be honest.
Yeah?
I know that Farrell Elliott, McLeod Bethel Thompson's agent, was in Hamilton making the rounds, making sure that everybody knew that his client was available and ready and wanting to come back to the Canadian Football League in the right circumstance. And I think there was interest, right? I mean, there was a number of teams that kicked the tires, but when it became clear that, look, he was only going to come for a starting opportunity at this stage in his career, I think the three teams that were legitimately interested were Edmonton, Ottawa, and Hamilton. In fact, I think the McLeod Bethel Thompson situation probably had something to do with Hamilton being able to get Bo Levi Mitchell to take the contract restructure that he did, right? I mean, essentially half his salary, if not less. And then Ottawa's got to make a decision there at their quarterback spot, because I don't know that after 2 years of season-ending injury, you can roll back in with Jeremiah Masoli as your anointed starter, right? I mean, that's got to get restructured over there as well. So I know McLeod was a viable option for them in Ottawa. And if you're Edmonton, it makes sense. I know the market is ready to jump collectively, unfortunately. But, it does make sense if you're Chris Jones to make this kind of move. Obviously, you'd like to not have to invest this much at the quarterback position. But, it'll probably be not as significant compared to what they were dealing with a year ago once the Taylor Cornelius move becomes official there, because obviously he was getting paid a hefty sum as well. So, I'm sure it's going to be tough if you're a Trey Ford fan, but I do think this does make a level of sense if you're Chris Jones.
Farhan, I just want to get your thoughts in just going around the league. Obviously, the hype is always the biggest in that market, and of course, Elks fans were captivated by the hype of Trey Ford. Is that shared league-wide in the film rooms and the boardrooms and everything else? Maybe hype, but is it as high as it is here in Edmonton?
Nope. And look, and that's not to say people don't think Trey Ford's a good player. Like, right. I think everybody league-wide believes he's a good athlete, but there's a question of, are you a good athlete and are you ready today to carry a team? And that's the hard part, right? Because as much as I like Trey Ford as an athlete, if I'm Chris Jones, do I want to risk my career here this year, right? Because is Trey Ford ready to be an elite quarterback this year. And last year, he showed a lot of flashes. He's a very entertaining quarterback. He's a great athlete. He's dynamic. He's got a live arm, but there's still the ability to read defenses consistently and operate consistently from within the pocket, right? Like, you have to be able to throw it consistently to win in this league. You can't just flash and make big plays down the field sometimes. And I know that talking to coaches around the league, I think the game plan around Trey Ford was get the ball out of his hands, right? I mean, with some quarterbacks, you want to have him double clutch and keep the ball in his hands. In the case of Trey Ford, they want the ball out of his hands because teams feel they're best equipped to defend him if they're forcing him to throw the ball, which is kind of counterintuitive for a quarterback. Wouldn't you say, Dustin, right? And both of you? So it's a little different, right? So that tells you how teams league-wide view his ability to consistently operate from within the pocket. So if you are Chris Jones, again, this is it, right? I mean, they got to get it right this year. They can't have a third year of losing or they're all getting fired. And some would say, well, I wish he got fired now. And maybe he gets fired halfway through the year with McLeod. I think you feel you can more consistently move the ball, and you know what you're going to get if you have a guy in McLeod Bethel Thompson. And obviously this team's invested a lot in receivers, so they've got to be able to consistently get those guys the ball. I wish there was a needle that could be thread here, because I do think McLeod has it in him to be a good mentor. I think he was that to Chad Kelly when they brought him in. And I mean, Chad was a guy with a lot of confidence and had incentives in his deal, and wasn't a young guy, and kind of has a short shelf life to do great things in this league. So he was hungry. And McLeod mentored him. And I think he'd be prepared to do that to Trey Ford. But if you're Trey, are you offended right now? Are you angry right now? And do you want to move? And I can't tell you that he does, right? I can't tell you that anything like that has happened. But, I think there could be a pretty good needle to be thread here, because it's only a one-year deal for McLeod. And he's 36, or he will be during the season. So if that could work, where he could learn a little more and get mentored, I think Trey could be that guy. I'm just not sure he's ready to be that guy today. And I'm not sure if you're Chris Jones, you want to take that leap of faith.
One more on this, then we'll set up Washington and Michigan here. What would be your expectations for MBT coming in? I mean, he seemed to play pretty well where he played last year, but you mentioned he's 36. Like, is this a guy who can come in and be top 2 or 3 in the league in passing yards this season?
Yeah, I think he can. I mean, it's not like he sat last year, right? He did play professional football, and he's still got a really innate, mature veteran understanding of the game. I think he's got some arm left. I mean, this is not a guy that's had heavy miles throughout his career, right? Where he's, played a dozen years of professional football in game action and been beaten up. It hasn't been like that. So there's some miles left. There's some tread on that tire. So I think he can come in, and I think he can make this team immediately better, right? I think he can immediately have them contend for a playoff spot, to be quite honest, right? Given how wide open the West is and the number of teams that have questions, right? I mean, Calgary and Saskatchewan have questions there. So there's no reason why Edmonton can't walk in and compete for that playoff spot. So, I think they're better with McLeod Bethel Thompson, because I think they're a little more predictable and they know what they're going to get. So, could you finish in the top 2 or 3 in passing? With that receiving core, I don't see why not. Obviously, they've got to get better at offensive line, but quite truthfully, if you talk to 8 of the 9 teams around the CFL, they'll tell you the same thing, that they need to get better at offensive line this season.
All right, it seems like breaking down this game tonight is pretty simple. You get a high-flying offense against the nation's best defense. What gives here, Farhan? Or is there another storyline somewhere in there that we're missing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the obvious one, and it's the unavoidable one. But, you'll look at both sides of the ball, but starting with that offense versus defense, this is going to come down to whether or not Washington can protect Michael Penix. And everything they've done this season would lead you to believe they can. And if they can, as good as Michigan's secondary is, and Texas was very good defensively. Oregon was very good defensively. Where Michigan separates itself from those two teams is their secondary is better. The front sevens are similar, but Michigan secondary is certainly better. But that said, Washington's receiving core is incredible, right? Like, we're talking peak Alabama receiving core when guys like, Waddle and Calvin Ridley and Devontae Smith were in the building. It's 2019 LSU incredible. It's that good, and the quarterback is that good. He's that accurate to any point on the field, right? Like, you can't say, well, keep it short because he's not patient, or force him to throw deep because he's not deep ball accurate. He can throw it anywhere on the field with precision, with velocity, however you want. So can they protect him? And they've given up 11 sacks this year, 15 sacks in the last 2 years combined. This offensive line won the Joe Moore Award, given to the top offensive line in the country. and they have a great understanding, right? Like Alabama's line last week, we're used to saying Alabama's so dominant up front, their line's great, and they handle them. What's not great? Alabama's line this year was not great. They were young and they were flawed. They weren't even in the top half of the SEC. So this line has been pretty good in terms of recognizing. I mean, their left tackle has a first-round grade in this year's NFL draft. The right tackle hasn't given up a sack all season. He's only given up 2 quarterback hits all season. They're a little young inside, so will they, dial up some blitzes and maybe potentially try to take advantage inside? Maybe, but other teams have tried that, and Washington's generally been pretty good there. So I think that's the game within the game. Can they protect Penix? Because if they can protect him, he will find guys. They're just too good. So, that's obviously the first part. And then the second part is on the other side of the ball, right? Because Michigan wants to run the football. And that's their style, that's their DNA, that's their attitude. Truth is, their offense is ranked 70th in the country. They haven't been explosive, and they haven't been necessarily as dynamic running the football, but they are patient, and they are methodical, and they're just going to keep doing it no matter what. Can Washington hold up there? Because they've had some challenges in that regard. So that might be the best way to keep Washington's offense off the field.
I think we all know where your heart is, Farhan. Where's your head at tonight, though, with this one?
It's tough, right? Like, I know there's not a majority, but there's a lot of people out there that just, they want to revert back to the old school, right? If you don't really know these teams, it's going to be easy to revert back to the old school and just say, well, the games are won and lost at the line of scrimmage, and they're just going to physically thump them. And, it could play out that way. I doubt it, right? I think Washington will get theirs. Wally Buono told me a few years back, defense doesn't win championships. Offense wins championships. And if you look at the scores in recent years, teams that win this thing put up points. Even Georgia and Alabama evolved at some point, right? They decided they needed to get dynamic and explosive offensively. Now, they didn't sacrifice defense, okay? But they didn't get to the point where they've gotten until they became a certain way offensively. So I think Michigan's going to need to score if they want to win this game. I think Washington's going to score at least 28 points. Michigan is only, they've held all but 2 of their opponents under 24 points. Washington has scored above 24 in all but 2 of their games. I think Washington's going to exceed that number, and they're going to score at least 28. Michigan's going to have to score some points if they want to win this game. And if it's a close game, and I think Washington will find a way to make it a close game, Washington will win because that's what they do, right? They've won the last 10 games by less than 10 points. They live in this moment. Michigan, they had a breakthrough against Alabama, but they've had a lot of easy games this year. So if it's close at the end, and I expect it to be, I think Washington's going to find a way.
All right, buddy. Well, you enjoy it, man. We'll catch up again soon.
Go Dogs.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Farhan Lalj on the beat. Sounded like he was in a big, hall for breakfast.
Fine
probably.
china.
That's probably what it was.
Bam. Greek
Maybe there's
restaurant.
some scrambled eggs there. Yeah.
I love the Buono quote. Just laying waste to everybody.
Offense. I love it. Everybody in the history of sports has been like, defense wins championships.
No.
Farhan this morning goes, Wally Buono once told me, offense wins championships.
Sure.
I like it.
Go with
I
that
like
from
Wally
now on.
Buono going against the grade on that. That's good. Good to catch up with Farhan.
Well, it's a clean track. It's not the big house. This isn't like minus temperatures and a tough them out, championship game. This should tailor to the offense, and perhaps that's what we see.
It's gonna be a good game. I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching.
It's a great
this bad
event.
boy
Always
tonight.
a great event.
Last night was great. Watched the Dolphins game against the Bills, and then I was waiting for the Lakers to get absolutely spanked by the Clippers, and then they beat them, saving Darvin Ham's job. I was in that. That's the one team I'm a fan of. So I'm like, man, get blown out tonight. Fire this clown. Have somebody come in who can handle the rotation and go from there. And then what do? They beat the Clippers, who've been absolutely on a tear for the last 6 weeks. So that was kind of a piss off, to be honest with you. I was really hoping they fired Darvin Ham, even with that in-season title. It still hasn't won me over enough, man. It's frustrating. So we'll see how that one plays out. You see LeBron's posterization of Paul George last night? Dude's 39, took off about 1.5 feet inside, 2 feet inside the free throw line, and just crushed him.
It's good to be back with you.
Oh, man.
It's good to be back with you.
You good? Hello. Hey, Dusty, what do you think of the game last night? Oh, thanks, LeBron. It was really good. Tommy Gazzola looking great as ever, man. God, wearing a flannel shirt. I just want to give you a hug, dude. That's what I want to do. Good to see you, man.
Son of a gun.
Are we doing like, wait, I'm going to do that one right.
I grabbed the forearm.
I'm going to grab the forearm there. That's real nice. Yeah, Tommy Gazzola coming up on the hangout today. That'll be great. All right, let's get into, let's do it. Let's dive into the wrap for William Huff. If you want your place to look as good as this place, get it done at William Huff. They're wrapping. They're building stuff for you. You want those lawn signs that we have? They'll get whatever you need. Bruce and the team will throw it on something. We'll get your logo on something. Get it out there. They'll get that done. It is the wrap for William Huff. What'd you learn on the show today, my man?
You're a roll-on deodorant guy.
I'm a roll-on deodorant guy.
It captured the imagination of the show. I don't think nobody would have ever guessed it.
No, nobody would ever guess it.
No, nobody did. Nobody would have ever.
I didn't give many clues.
Doing the show for eternity, and we'd never guess it. But the roll-on. I thought you'd go the 2-in-1 or the 3-in-1, but you went with the roll-on. Which
I'm already a 2-in-1 guy.
Yeah, so that's fine. But you'll go today. You'll find some roll-on deodorant sticks at some Shoppers or Linda Drugs near you, and away we go.
And if they're not here, I'm going to start importing them illegally from Switzerland.
Well,
I'm going to take Trev over. We're going to tape him to his body, and he's going to have to come back through the scanners. Just like in the Wolf of Wall Street. It's the same type of thing. But instead of with millions of dollars, it's roll-on deodorant.
And Brandon's a loser, right?
Man, Brandon, you are a major buzzkill, dude.
You know, it's one thing to start the week with a win, but when you start it like this, there's only one way up.
Iwanek only has one arm, and he texted in wow. Just wow.
Garnered a text.
That was quite something. I also learned that we've got a new sponsor on board.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing back Scalding Hot Takes on Thursdays. Sports updates every single day. You're going to hear a lot about Clayburn Services. They are looking for your services. All you bricklayers out there, they've got some big jobs coming up, and they want to pay you copious amounts of money to lay bricks and get things done. They're looking for all levels of apprentices. ClayburnServices.com is the website. And it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. Like, for example, this is the one new bit moving forward. Oh, Ron Rivera was fired today. He should go work at Clayburn.
Yeah.
Right? Get yourself a trade. It's always good to have a trade.
Well, I think it'd be more for disgraced Panthers GM Scott Fitterer. It might be the good fit.
Oh, yeah, Scott Fitterer.
The fit might be the brick lane.
Yeah, that could work. That could work. All right, let's get to your sound of the day today. Well, nothing new, but it was good being back.
Oh, we had something new. I'm going to give you a second to just
for a sound.
It's a 3. Oh, yes, for a sound. A sound, in fact, that I was supposed to bring to the masses.
Yes. Sound of the day, of course. A&W. A&W, it ties in nicely to text of the day. Well, this is our text of the day right now. A&W, they got the spicy dill pickle mama burger. It's back, and now it's available as the buddy burger as well. This is nuts. Starting at just $3.99, 3 grass-fed beef burgers topped with pickles and onion slice, real cheddar cheese, slathered in creamy, spicy dill pickle sauce, available for a limited time only at A&W. And along with that information, they have sent us this and said we can use it now moving forward because they are bringing it back. It's the sound of the day.
Now the triangle.
There's that other thing popping in there too.
Take me to the recording studio.
Yeah. What do we remix over that? How do we make that? I don't know how it's possible to make it better.
Tuesday tomorrow. I think
man,
talk about a slathering. I think.
Wouldn't that be quite the scene? Wait a sec here. I don't want to. That's just a quick preview of Tuesday tomorrow. Let's see here. Let's see what I can. Where's how? Okay, here we go.
How dude. That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
No.
How dude.
Oh, tomorrow's show is going to be fun.
We got an
shout out
hour
to
filled,
A&W for making that happen. Let's get to your text of the day today. We were talking about that
Yeah, a teeth.
The roll-on deodorant that I'm getting into, and a teeth. God, Atif texts in. Of course, Atif in a wheelchair. He's our guy in the chair. Atif is in and says, "Hey boys, I roll on everywhere." Oh,
First time I read it, I
good.
thought he was talking about the application of the stick.
Yeah, exactly.
All over the place. You know,
Atif, you, sir, I mean, that's amazing
Big
stuff.
win, big
Atif,
win.
congratulations, buddy. You have won text of the day for A&W. That'll give you a gift certificate to A&W. And, go get your hands on that burger that's slathered in creamy, spicy dill pickle sauce. Delicious. All right, good Monday. Good Monday being back. We're fired up. Big year coming up for Edmonton Sports Talk. It's funny because we've only been doing this for 4 months. You know, it seems like it's been going forever. Imagine this in 5 years. It's going to be crazy. 2024, just the beginning. Got some fun stuff planned. Hoping to grow things even a little bit more, which could be a lot of fun as well. Hangout is coming up next. I got a full house over there, so make sure you stick around for that. Lock Shop today at 11 o'clock. We'll obviously dive into this college football game tonight and take a look at some of these future odds in the National Football League as well. And then Tommy and I will be back with the oil stream at noon today as well. Hey, tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. Make sure autoplay is on. That'll take you right on over to the Hangout, which will be firing up right away. We got a practicum student starting today. We didn't even talk about that. We'll have to talk about that tomorrow. We've got a sixth member of the team.
Trev's going to break him in.
And he's free.
Yeah.
And now Trev can boss someone around.
Exactly.
I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Welcome to the real world, kid.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that coming up. Hangout's coming up. Lock Shop after that. Oil stream still to come today as well. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. For YouTube Trev, Lieutenant Eric, I am Dustin Nielson saying it is good to be back. Enjoy your Monday and take it easy.
Go Dogs.